Solutions.
Yeah.
So, I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but any gaming New Year's resolutions for 2018, Miss Lauren?
I tend to not set resolutions because I feel like resolutions are these like immeasurable things that people can't you can't really live up to them. Like, oh, I'm going to lose weight. Well, that's not really like a measurable goal, like losing weight. Like, what's the amount? What's the time span? Like, whatever. So, the only
Hmm.
resolution I set this year at all was to treat myself like a queen, and then I set like measurable goals for my business, my small business and stuff. But I didn't set anything for gaming because I really like what you and I are doing here. So as long as we keep doing this, I'm golden. What about you?
Yeah, I had actually, as related to this, I had written down, oh, this year we're gonna stick to a schedule and do
Yeah,
it, every Thursday, and
yeah,
and that's what we're doing 2018.
yeah.
And then I had to cross it off because, of course, today is not
Because
Thursday,
at
and then
the
I messed
very
up the
first, the
schedule.
very first possible chance of fucking that up, excuse my language, we messed that up.
But listen, I have no further expectations for the year, so I don't have that pressure anymore, so
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
golden.
that's good. That's good, right? Yeah, that's fun.
That should be, barring any unforeseen events, the last time we have to do this. Apologies.
Yeah,
Apologies.
yeah. I mean, life happens sometimes, and it's not always predictable, so you do what we can. One of the reasons we didn't think we were going to be able to do this on Thursday was that my power went out earlier in the day, and so that was frustrating. But here
Yes,
we
the United
are.
States got cold this week.
Yeah, cold snap. We got a really. I live in Virginia, Southern Virginia, and so like any amount of snow is too much snow, and we got like a foot of it. So
Yeah.
the schools are still closed tomorrow. The storm was on Thursday. Like
Wow.
it's crazy. It's crazy here.
No, it's intense. And I do make an effort to avoid politics here, but I
Yeah.
have to bring up that if I have another person say to me, "Oh, it's so cold. What about this global warming?" I am going to punch them
Oh,
in the throat.
I know because like I know global warming, whatever. I think we just need to like switch the whole terminology to climate change. I know that's like a different, like it's not the same or whatever. Like I don't know, but I feel because people don't understand. Like global warming is a misnomer. Like yeah, the planet is getting warmer, but that leads to weather extremes. So it's not warming. It's just the climate is changing. Like
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's also people not able to see the larger picture
Yeah.
of the entire planet versus what's happening in their backyard.
Right, in your particular. Because it's so hot in Australia right now because it's summer for them that the fucking roads are melting. Like the roads are melting. How is that not global warming? You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's extreme.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right?
Anyway, hello. What is your name?
Hi, I'm Batman. And you are?
Oh, that's odd because I'm Batman.
No, Tony. I'm Batman. You're more of a Robin.
But Lauren, I wanted to be Batman. Can can I at least be Alfred?
We'll see. Either way, we're the two gamers that you may not have asked for, but that you need. And today, we're gaming together to get one trophy in Batman, the Telltale series. Did you like that?
Yay for scripting! We're playing this game today as it is one of the January 2018 PS Plus free downloads for the PlayStation 4. And the hope is that by the time we've achieved our trophy goal, we will have played enough of the game to get a substantive sense of the gameplay and story to give an informed opinion on whether this game is worth both the download space on your PlayStation 4 and the temporal space that it takes up in your otherwise busy life.
Yes. So this episode is going to be a targeted trophy episode, which means we're working towards a specific trophy goal. We can get other trophies along the way, but our challenge is only complete when we pop the trophy that is called Family Secrets. Um, it is a gold trophy, and 89.71% of the players have earned that trophy. And we get that one for completing the first episode, Realm of Shadows.
We'll talk a little bit more about the trophies later in the episode, but you'll
Mm-hmm.
notice that that number is a bit high. That's
Mm-hmm.
common for Telltale games. It's not difficult to get these trophies, so mainly this is going to be a time-based challenge for you.
Yeah.
So, for the gamers playing along, you have your goal. It's collecting the trophy family secrets. Let us know in the comments when you achieve the trophy. You will likely be beating us, as we tend to do these a little bit slower than the
Yeah.
speedrunners.
And I'm not
among
great
us.
at gaming, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
I gotta tell you, if you can't manage a Telltale game, I think
I
we're in
know.
trouble.
But remember the last Telltale game where I couldn't figure out like the hose problem or whatever with the buckets and like I mean they're not difficult,
Ah,
it just takes a second.
yes, you're referring to Life is Strange, which
Yes.
actually is not a Telltale game, but it is in the
Oh,
same spirit.
I thought it was. Never mind.
That's cool. So, when Lauren will give us the countdown, she'll begin
Yes.
playing, and then everyone can begin playing, those who are playing along.
Yes. Okay. So, here we go. We're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh wait, episodes. So I started at the elapsed time of 6 minutes. So here we go. We'll see how long it takes us at the end. Adjust the slider. Ooh. I guess there. Continue. Do.
I tend to be a bit cheaty with the adjusting the slider.
You leave it up
I
higher?
tend to I tend to give myself a little bit of leeway.
Purple.
I went purple as well.
Oh, great minds, Tony. Great minds.
Also, terrible minds think alike. I mean, just keep that in mind too.
Yeah, no, that's true. We're both terrible people, so that's fair. Wow, this load screen. Is this just me or is this taking a while?
It is taking a second. I actually, Telltale, they've had engine problems, loading problems, little graphical glitches. It's a common complaint.
Hmm, interesting. So, just so you all are aware, I did turn the audio settings down on the game itself so that I can hear Tony better. So, if you have trouble hearing our gameplay in the background, I apologize. This show isn't really about the gameplay, it's more about our experience with the gameplay. So, just
Yeah.
listen to our voices because they're pleasing.
Anyway,
Let's go back to our Batman voices now.
we do have the subtitles on, so you will be,
Yes,
be able
yes,
to follow
you'll
along.
still be able to get the story. I mean, mostly probably. I mean, it's Batman. How much do you really need, right? Like,
Well, what is your history with Batman? Are you a DC aficionado? Is this your first outing? You've seen the films.
I mean, I've seen all of the Batman movies except for Batman versus Superman because that one just looked ridiculous.
Show, bring the whole goddamn
Or
place
whatever.
down.
And
No, listen,
We'll be out
no
here
one is
before
counting
anyone
that
can
movie,
stop
so
us.
don't worry
yeah,
about it.
yeah. So I saw all those movies. I have not played. I played like Arkham Asylum for like 5 minutes, and that's basically it for Batman. I'm not a comic book person really. I don't have much experience with Batman. So, yeah.
Well, the latest gen Batman games, including the Telltale games, in my opinion, have all been very good. It's surprising how well they've managed to take this character and make him a lot of fun to follow in an interactive environment. So
Okay.
you're in for a treat.
Cool.
Gordon. They're on the 52nd floor. I'm going in.
Hey! Wait! Wait for backup!
Don't need it.
Take the stairs.
I heard stories,
Take the stairs to the 52nd floor.
The rest in body bags. No wonder the cops want him dead.
Do you know how long that would take, dear
Yeah,
lord?
Gotham Zoo.
Yeah, I'm
All
just
the other
thinking
floor.
the scene from the original Ghostbusters.
Oh, yeah.
I'd make it to floor 10 and I'd be like, I would like my pension now, please.
Yeah. Like, I'm good.
I completely dig the purple, but it just does not look like what Batman would actually
No.
choose.
No. It's pretty great,
like
though.
like a Hello Kitty sticker attached
Yeah,
to the
right?
side of his Bruce Batarang.
Do you watch this show called Ghosted on Fox?
I have seen a trailer for it, but I haven't actually watched it. Is it funny? It looks funny.
It's a little bit ridiculous, but it does have funny moments. But in the most recent episode, they were going after this
Keep doing this.
creature or whatever, and the guy described it as being bat-like,
blood,
but
everything is
man-sized.
sacrificed.
And the other dude's like,
The city is
so
sacred.
Batman, you're describing Batman.
You were targeted.
He's like, no, that's not what I said.
People will keep
They
moving
just
across
kept going
rivers
back and forth.
until they're shot out of the sky.
I like it. It's a show. It could be very funny. I'll definitely get into it if you think it's worth it.
I mean, I think if you like dumb humor and like just, you know, I really like Adam Scott, and he's one of the main dudes in that show, so that's the whole reason I
Whatever
started
got in.
watching it. But yeah,
Well, then
it's
get
just
out.
silly. It's just like silly dumb humor.
That's awesome.
It's
So,
it's like if you took the X-Files and made it funny on purpose.
Not to be fair, the X-Files has a couple of funny episodes.
Yes, it does. It does. That's true.
Have you played any Telltale games before? Is this your first time?
This
Now knowing
is,
that Life is Strange is not a Telltale
yeah,
game?
this is my first. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, you typically get these quick time events where you have to kind of quickly react to the on-screen prompts.
Mhm.
Also, you get, of course, your dialogue choices, and not responding to something is typically an option as well, so you can be silent.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know how you play these, but I play them trying to have the protagonist do as I would do as far as moral choices.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think it's
that's-
interesting because it's almost like a playthrough of how your morality plays out in the world. I know that everything, of course, is written and scripted and these are coming from people's minds, but
Right.
it's just an interesting take on how your choices can play out.
Yeah, and that's usually how any game where there's choices. Usually, I typically play how I myself would choose things. So if you're playing like Mass Effect or whatever, like I play how I as a human person would respond in those situations. But I know some people like to do like things that they would never in real life or whatever.
If I come back to a game, I do it a second time.
Yeah.
I'll typically do a playthrough that's just being a dick.
Same.
Or
Yeah,
psychopathic,
totally same.
or trying to stress the
I know
limits
you're
of what the
trying to
game will
create
allow
a
you to
myth.
do.
Right.
But be careful.
You know, I'm a
don't
big fan
turn
of
into a
Fallout. I don't know if I've
monster.
spoken about that on the show before, but
Sometimes
that's
you
my
need
favorite
a monster.
series. I love how open-ended it is. I love how you can play around with the morality. And there are streamers, YouTubers, who push the limits of that game. They try and do a full passive playthrough.
Right.
Dying. They try killing everything that's possible to kill in the game, and it's just interesting to see how it pushes the limitations of the story and the ending.
That game has a lot of mods to it, right? That you can install on like PC versions. Can you put those on PS4 versions?
Yes, the modding community is very large in Fallout, and you can, it depends on what console you're playing on. The Xbox has a pretty extensive mod library, and the PlayStation 4 has a limited one, because the PlayStation, Sony didn't like the idea of people bringing in assets that weren't officially developed. by
Right.
Bethesda.
I mean, that makes sense. Sony seems to have a lot of, issues with content, like allowing certain content, I guess. Because, like, I know we
Yeah.
talked about this before. Every time Overwatch, like, tries to put stuff in, they have to get it approved before their changes can be implemented or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
they have to get approval from Sony.
Yeah, Sony's definitely pretty locked down.
Yeah.
Didn't your mother teach you to knock?
So can I say you are
Behind you,
kicking
big boy.
ass as Batman?
I'm okay.
Heyday.
So you know enough to know who that is.
Her?
Yeah.
I assume it's Catwoman with 2 ears.
And you know the full name, the city name, Catwoman?
Oh, you know what? I do, just because I watched a few episodes of that
Stay where you
Gotham
are.
show or whatever, but I can't remember
You're
it
under
off the
arrest.
top of my head.
Yeah, awesome. So Selena Kyle, which
Yeah, there it
they'll
is.
bring that up again. However, the fact that you've watched some Gotham, you may appreciate this more than I do
Be
because I
intimidating,
haven't
you're
seen any
succeeding.
Gotham. But from what I've
Criminals are becoming
read,
afraid
there are
of you.
some design
So are the
elements
police.
that are
It's a
very
scary
similar
time
to
to go out.
Gotham with the way that
Just a
they
performance.
designed some of the characters.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've only seen a few of the, like, very few episodes. of that show.
Did it not catch your interest, or?
Yeah, just because I'm not like the hugest Batman
Not a
fan.
scratch.
Like I'm not.
So
I don't really
far.
know the backstory and the lore, and I guess that's the whole point of that show, to like teach you the backstory and the lore.
doesn't
But it just
belong to
wasn't.
you.
I don't know. I
I
think
was
it was at a
wondering if
time
you
in my
would
life
cross
where like
paths.
a lot of other
broke
things
the
were happening,
law.
and I was just
Here
like,
I
I don't
am.
have time for this.
Cut the shit.
A
The
time when
law.
you didn't want
Don't
Batman,
tell
but
me
you
that's why
needed
you
Batman.
do all
Right,
this.
right. I probably should have had Batman in my
Squeeze into
life,
a
but I
suit,
didn't.
tie on a cape. Most
You know,
people dressed up like that
despite
end
not
up
getting
in
into
Gotham.
Gotham, back in the day, I got into Smallville, which of course is the
Someone
Superman
went
equivalent of
down
Gotham.
Uh-huh, yeah.
And
So that makes
I'm
me
not a
what?
Superman fan.
A villain?
Never been a Superman fan.
Sounds fun.
But I really enjoyed Smallville
Gotta
to the point
admit
that
it,
I
though.
watched it.
You give a good
I think
chase.
it was me
One day you
and
might actually
maybe the
catch me.
writers of the show. We were the only people who were watching.
Don't you
And
run out the corner a
I
wild
finished
animal.
that show out,
It's
and
dangerous.
I don't know what it was about
Let's
the
put you in a
melodrama
cage.
of that WB show, but I was so
Bring
into
it,
it.
Bat.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the Supernatural is that way now, where like there's like one person still watching that show. Because it's been on for like a jillion years, and like
Yeah.
it just got to the point where it's just freaking ridiculous. But yeah, I
The thing with
never.
Smallville that was sorry, so I was saying the thing with Smallville that was frustrating is that of course they have this very rich and complex comic book world to pull
Yeah,
from,
right.
and every time they made an attempt to pull in a character or to pull in a reference, it always felt like this tongue-in-cheek. Oh, this person's named this.
Yeah.
But it didn't appreciate. There wasn't a story. There wasn't an attempt to build their own world from these characters. It just felt like, hey, you may remember this name. Well, they look really good in this episode because they're
Right.
perfect 20-year-old whoever.
Yeah.
And that was frustrating because it felt like, okay, you have no plan here.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that's the same with Gotham or not.
I watched so few of the episodes that I couldn't really tell you. Like I think I saw maybe 3 of them. But I never got into Smallville. I think I watched like an episode here or there, but I never saw like anything with continuity. Like it was like one episode in one season, and then like 3 seasons later an episode. So I don't really know like much about that show other than it's Superman as as a kid or whatever, as a teenager.
Yeah, I hear you.
So tell me, Tony, a little bit about this game that we're
Do
playing.
not shoot!
Yeah, so the developer and publisher of this game is Telltale, which if you don't have any history with Telltale, this is pretty much what they do. They do these episodic, story-based adventures. And they first really joined the scene as Telltale with Sam and Max. Are you familiar with that comic book franchise television
No.
thing? Well, Sam and Max, they're kind of wisecracking detectives. One is a rabbit, one is a dog, and I don't even know. It's
Why
kind of
go
like
to
a
all
mix
that
of
trouble for this?
noir and slapstick.
Okay.
Shit.
But they were a comic
myth
book, they were a
can't be
television
killed.
series, and they were
You,
continued
however,
on via adventure
flesh
games,
and blood.
first by LucasArts, who did a lot of adventure games, and then they were picked up by Telltale. Telltale also picked up another
damn it.
LucasArts story, oh my gosh,
No,
it's the pirate
wait.
one. I should be looking this up. With, let me look it up.
Okay.
I want to catch up. Tales of Monkey Island, which was
Okay.
a popular series of LucasArts games about a pirate, also very comedic. A lot of these games are very comedic in nature. They really hit the scene hard with Back to the Future.
Yeah.
That made them explode. It put the love of Back to the Future franchise. They had a lot of the voice actors from the movies. They had Bob Gale, who was the screenwriter for 2 and 3, and he co-wrote the first one. So they had some gravitas behind that,
Right.
and that was a great game. I highly recommend that, especially if it comes on a heavy sale, which it does come in sale rotation a lot. They did Jurassic Park, they did Wallace and Gromit, they did Homestar Runner, they did a series of CSI games.
Guess I was wrong about you
but they
catching
became completely mainstream with The Walking
Not
Dead.
sure if it was for
They
my
did
sake
now 4
or
seasons of
yours.
The Walking Dead. One of them was a bit of a spin-off based
Don't
on
struggle
Michonne. I
or
don't know
you'll
if you
fall.
Oh,
are
but that's what
familiar
you
with The Walking
crave.
Dead
The struggle.
characters and mythos.
I know,
But The Walking
but
Dead
you-
is where they won, Game of the Year. That's where they became a powerhouse.
But
And since then, they've done other games, including Tales from the Borderlands, which is based on the Borderlands series. I think a lot of people expected that to be just, why are you making a story-based game, based on this? Just shoot 'em up, just kill everything. What story is there to tell? But they did an amazing job. A lot of people would say that that's
Step
their
out of the
favorite because it
shadows.
just blew everyone out of the
Bruce
water with
Wayne
the way they
tonight.
handled the comedy in that
That's
universe.
a much harder fight.
And they've also done, of course, Batman,
Tombstones
Minecraft,
be
and
your
they have
family legacy.
Guardians of the Galaxy coming up.
Oh,
Well then,
Which does mean that they are
time to save the city.
one of the few companies that are handling both DC and Marvel properties
yeah,
at the same time.
interesting.
The only other company I can think that handles that is Lego.
Yeah. Yeah, Lego.
So kudos to them.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. A humble
That's true. I
district
didn't think
attorney like
about that.
myself
Lego
is
does
not
have
used to
both
such a
DC
ringing
and Marvel
endorsement.
properties.
Even one who cut
Yeah.
Gotham's crime
I don't
rate
think they
in
have
half.
them in the same game. I don't know if Dimensions
long.
includes
This
both
city has
Batman.
burned
Yeah,
with
I
And
don't
Marvel
know if
characters, it
Dimensions
might.
has...
Under Mayor
Yeah, I'm
Hill's
not sure.
authority.
I know Batman
I
for sure
promise
is in
you,
it. He's
a
like
vote
the
for
main
Harvey
dude.
Dent is a vote to finally put your foot down.
The Lego version of
Together,
Batman is amazing. I love him.
Stamp out the fire and
Yeah.
save our great
My
city.
mom actually
Yeah,
for
he's voiced-
Christmas got me a Lego Batman Christmas tree ornament.
Mr.
Nice.
Wayne,
Yeah.
my campaign's largest backer.
And
For
that
applause, he
variant
would-
of Batman is
Oh,
voiced by
there he
Will
is.
Arnett, who
Yeah.
most people may
Fashionable
know
and fashionably
via
late
Arrested
as
Development.
always.
Right.
Say hi, Bruce.
Speaking of voice actors, I do have some cast notes for you.
Hi, Bruce.
Well, I tee him up and he knocks
Have
him
you
down.
figured out who Batman
That's
is
how
played
Mr.
by?
Wayne and I do business.
No, I'm not really listening to
Thank
their
you.
voices.
Thank you again, everyone, for your unwavering support.
Well, without even hearing the voices, I'll give you a hint. You have heard his
Together,
voice
we
3
will
times so
change
far
Gotham.
in our show.
That doesn't really help me.
Mr. Wayne.
Mr. Troy
Thank you
Baker.
for
He
opening
Oh,
your house
yeah.
to us.
the
Now, I
video
know
game
this is the
voice
biggest
actor.
brand in
everywhere.
Gotham, but I don't think you got lost
Journeyman.
on your
He
way
is
here.
everywhere.
Where were you?
He, of course,
I knew you preferred
Infamous.
the brooding
He
billionaire
did.
angle. So the sooner we make nice with the donors, the sooner
Nathan Drake
everyone
and
will
Uncharted.
know.
Yeah.
He did.
Just
He's
wanted to
everywhere.
make an
So,
entrance.
so I can go on
Congratulations, you
forever.
almost missed it.
Some
You are
people
a
didn't
pillar
like
of
his
the city
stint as
and
Batman.
my campaign.
They thought that he
I
was a
need you
bit
here,
too bland.
tuxedoed and shaking hands.
And Batman
You
is
came here tonight to see
it's
me.
hard to say Batman without immediately
see
going to
the
that,
Bruce Wayne,
Christopher
am I
Nolan
right?
Batman voice.
Yeah.
I can see him
Yeah.
just fine from here.
It shouldn't
Which,
be painful.
I mean,
it's not a kidney stone.
kind of over the
Only a
top,
little
if you ask
FaceTime
me.
with potential
But
donors. Your face specifically with
It
a
was
mouth
bold,
that's saying,
and I agree.
"Support
Everyone
Harvey
laughs at it, but
We're the grease,
it's
they're
stuck.
the wheels.
People know that
They're
voice.
rolling enough cash and votes to help make Gotham
Yeah.
a place for families again.
And Harvey
A little
Dent, who you're
liquid
listening
courage
to
before
now,
facing
is
your
voiced by
adoring
Travis
public.
Willingham. Unfortunately, he doesn't have
This'll help you
anything
too, Bruce.
too much
Once I've
of
turned the
note.
city
He's
around
a
as
he's a
mayor,
video game
you'll
voice
be the
actor
hero
primarily.
funding my
A lot of
campaign.
English versions
All
of
I need is a
anime
decent
voices,
slogan. I'm terrible at those.
including Soul
It always
Eater,
makes me sound like a used car
Digimon,
salesman.
Dragon
All right,
Ball.
all right. How about put a dent in crime?
look at you. It's not half bad. I'm going to use that.
I see
I
that
like
you
the,
went with
um,
Dent in crime.
Yeah,
Together,
right?
you and
I
me,
like the
we
textures
change
on their
Gotham.
suits and
A
stuff.
city free from crime. Where
Yeah.
children can play in the streets again.
I like
What
the
want
style
too,
here.
Harvey, but you know how rough it is out there.
This is
We have to shake things up to make that happen.
this kind of
Well, you
cell
can
shading
start
look
with a
that they
few
have going
hands,
here. It's very
Come on.
Telltale, Back to the Future and before. They've gotten away with a lot of games on the same engine. That being
Okay.
said, this is a revamped version of the engine. This is the first game that's using their new version. The Walking Dead Michonne had a
Mr. Wayne,
beta
I'd like to
version of it,
introduce you
but this
to
is
Bob and
kind
Regina
of a revamp.
Zelivar. Of
Despite
course I know
that,
these two.
this game did release
Hello,
with
Bruce.
heavy bugs.
Regina here is the
A lot
chairwoman
of
of the Brain
complaints
Enterprises,
surrounding
and her
that,
husband.
but
for Mayor
several
Hill last
updates
time.
supposedly have corrected it.
I'll admit it, Mr. Wayne. I don't know Mr. Dent from a pothole on Main Street, but I trust your family. If you believe in Dent, we believe in you. After all, Whoever you support is a reflection on you.
Do you watch
And we
Archer?
trust someone like you to lead
Yes,
this city to greatness.
I like Archer a lot,
Well, I'm
actually.
flattered, truly, but this night is
If you
about
had just
getting
shown me a
Harvey Dent elected
screenshot
so
right
he
here
can
and said
fix
this was the
those
Archer game,
potholes.
I would have totally believed you.
Oh, for
I think
sure.
I speak for half the room when I say politicians.
It's just, he
are
looks, isn't he
puppets.
like just a spitting
Come on
image?
now, Bob.
Yes.
I'm not a
100%.
politician.
Does that mean,
I'm a crusader.
is Archer supposed to
No
be
strings
like
attached.
a Bruce Wayne? Is
Old
that the
families
archetype
like
that
ours should
they're
flock
trying to go for
together,
there?
you know, like birds.
I don't.
Because I always thought of him as
You're
a James
preaching,
Bond.
dear.
Yeah, I'm pretty
No,
sure it's meant
true.
to be
The
like
lanes and
James
Zellerbox are
Bondy.
reminders of the golden age of Gotham.
Oh, this city's luster faded years ago, Mr. Dent. Look at Gotham now. Murder in the streets, corruption.
You know,
in
my
City
favorite thing
Hall,
about
that
Archer
Cape
is
Bat
that
freak
episode where
dealing
he's
out
Bob from
vigilante
Bob's Burgers.
justice like it's the wild goddamn
Because
West.
it's voiced by the
Oh,
same
Bob,
guy. I
regarding
just love
golden
that. I
age,
think that's so
seems You're
clever.
getting cranky in yours.
I forgot
There's
about that. That
always
was a
hope.
great episode.
Forgive
Yeah.
me for being blunt, but one man
Ah,
can't
that
save
show.
the city. And it's a dangerous
I
mentality
try to get my
to
husband
think
to watch
so.
it, but he thinks of it
That's
as
how
just
you
a bunch
get
of screaming,
creeps
which
like
he's
this
not wrong.
Batman.
Well, I have to say I side
Bunch
with
of
your
characters
wife on this,
screaming at
Mr.
each other.
Zellerbox.
Yeah.
Even a
Yes.
spark of hope can light the darkness.
Oh, an idealist with a bank account. He'll be broke before Election Day.
Some of the fun of
I know
watching
Bruce
this the
would
second time,
gladly
because of
spend
course
every
I played
penny
through
he
it as
has
part
to
of
fix
the
this city.
premise
I
of
don't
our
doubt
show
that
is that I
for
do
Right.
the research, I play beforehand,
Don't
so I have
worry,
an
though.
idea of
I am not
how
doing
far we
this
can get,
alone.
what trophies to go for.
Bruce's help.
Part of the fun of
You're
watching it the
replacing
second
the
time, of course,
dangerously
I've already
unsecure
made my
Arkham
choices.
Asylum.
I've
Right.
played the story,
State-of-the-art
the way
mental
that
health
matches
facility
my
to help
play
Gotham's
style
most
slash
at-risk
morality slash
individuals.
whatever. But now I get to see
Will
how
be
you do
dedicated
it,
to
and
Thomas
it's a
and
lot
Martha
of fun not only to
hopes
see
that
a
their
different
fate
path, but to see
will
where we
never be
align as
repeated.
well. It's almost like a
After
test
all your
of what
parents
kind of a
did for this
person are you.
city. To be
Well, and it's
killed
hard
in a
because
botched
like I have
robbery
like
in
I'm
some
trying to
alleyway.
listen to you and
It
like
was
pick up the
terrible.
story, and
Truly
so whenever it
terrible.
comes time to like pick a
And
thing,
tragedy
I'm like,
like that
but I don't
sets
know
a
what they're
young
talking
age.
about.
Must
Yeah.
have
So
been
it's always like,
If only that
yeah, I don't know.
deranged man had gotten the right treatment,
Sorry
maybe.
about that. We do
No,
have to
it's
keep
not. It's
fans
fine.
Well, I
It's
entertained.
know
fine.
what
I
to
can
think about maybes.
I can figure it out
And
from
I'm sure
the
you
brief
don't either.
context that I've been getting.
Well, thank you. I wish my
Well, one of the
parents
choices
could
is
be
like,
speaking
I
with
agree,
you too.
Matt. I mean, the other one is like, F you,
And
crony.
thank you.
It's like,
for
let me slap you in the
investing in
face.
health of this city's future.
You have our support, Mr. Dent. Go get him.
We're on our way. Not saying I doubted you, but that went better than expected.
Oh,
It
So
is
I
a
did
night
good
of
for
ringing
Harvey.
endorsements.
Congrats.
apparently. Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Part of the balancing act with making games that have choices like this, where you have your character
Hello.
gonna voice act the choice you make, is that if
Harvey
you don't
Dent,
put
Gotham's
the entirety
next
of the
mayor,
line,
and eager to
you
know
know,
you.
there's
Vicky Vale.
some variation in
Not
how the
interested.
character
And reporter for the
says
Gotham
it
Gazette.
This
or
is a
delivers
private
it that may be
fundraiser,
different
Miss
from what
Vale.
your
No
expectation
reporters
is.
allowed.
And that
Right.
can be
Well, you don't
frustrating
mind
when
if
you
I
choose a
stay and
line
ask a few
and the
questions,
character
do
says
you,
it
Mr.
really
Wayne?
sarcastically, or
You can ask
adds a whole
me
other
whatever you
sentence
want
that
at the press
changes the
conference
gist of what you
tomorrow.
thought the character was gonna say.
Actually, I'm here for
right,
Mr. Wayne.
right.
No,
I get what you're
it's
saying
all
because
right.
I
You
think
can stay.
Thanks.
Fallout 4 had that
Oof.
problem a lot, where like it was only just like
This is
short
quite the
versions of
social
whatever the
event,
full
Mr.
line
Wayne.
was, and
Come
then you
on
pick
now,
the
so
option, and
formal.
it's like you don't know what the
Call me
full
Bruce.
like
Well,
what the full
Bruce,
response
you've
is.
been going
Is that
around
accurate?
quizzing everyone
Yeah.
tonight.
It's completely accurate to the point of it was comical,
you
where
doing?
you'd have a choice that said sarcastic
You should
response,
enjoy your own
Yeah.
party.
and then you click it,
Before all
and then the
that
response
champagne
wasn't
runs out.
sarcastic. It was like,
I'm doing
you know,
better now that you are
aggressive yelling.
I'll
It's
tell
like
you
that's
what,
Right.
not
I'm sure
sarcasm.
it's worth
Yeah.
it. I'd give you the
What the
credit,
hell
too.
is this?
Yeah, that's why I
Mr.
knew about the
Wayne,
mods, because one of the
you've got
mods
something on your
is
collar.
showing the entire response, like
Oh.
in the
Yep.
in the option
that
wheel. It's like
blood?
showing everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a mod available for
It looks
PlayStation
like-
4 because it requires changing
Oh,
of
this? No,
assets.
it's nothing. It just cut myself shaving. What? Your butler didn't help you this time? Hey, kidding.
Do excuse me, Master Bruce, but another guest.
There you are, Tony.
has arrived.
Alfred.
I'm sure they'll find the bar.
You may want to greet this one
There
personally.
I am,
sir.
finally.
I mean, you
My
were there a
time
little
has
bit
arrived.
earlier. You were like stitching up my.
Is the Dent campaign soliciting votes from
Stitching
Gotham's
me up.
biggest
Listen, that's my
crime
job.
fan?
Falcone's
You
never
get
been
injured
convicted of
playing these
anything
games.
except being a
I'm there.
businessman who
I got
loves
your
this
back.
city.
It's good. It's good
Excuse
news.
us, Miss Vale.
Now, I'm pretty sure Falcone is one of the people in the Gotham show.
And what kind of business do
Oh,
you
see,
think
this
he's
will be a
in?
good thing for me to do
The
some
one that
research
controls
on.
enough votes to get me
Find
into
out.
City Hall.
This is the necessary evil of
Carmine
collectors,
Falcone
Bruce.
is
It's in
an
the service of a
existing
better
DC
Gotham
comic
for all of us.
fictional character.
At least hear him out before you kick him out.
First debuting in the
Falcone
four-part
requested to
story
speak with
Batman
you
Year
directly.
One, written by Frank Miller
like this,
and
Harv.
David Mazzucchelli in
trusting you.
1987.
Thank you, Bruce. Seriously.
Uh-huh.
You know I have to pull every string I can to get elected.
Yeah, well, just make sure this one doesn't hang you.
A word of warning, Bruce? Play nice.
Seriously, he if Archer were drawn in this art style,
Decent
he would look like
sky-high
Bruce Wayne.
ceilings, plenty of room for my
It's a spitting
cars.
image. It's
Yeah.
it's hard for me to
100%.
actually disassociate.
Yeah.
Which they
Though the
should have had
decor
a
offends
comical
my
option where you
eyes.
sound like Arthur the entire game.
Man, all flash, no class.
My
Like the
family
next season of
built
Archer
this
should just be him as
It's not
Batman.
for sale.
Like the whole next season.
Everything's for sale, Mr.
Yes,
Wayne.
completely.
And everyone.
They do that though,
Just
don't
need to
they?
find
Don't they
the
do
right
entire
currency.
seasons that are like?
Come on, Falcone.
Especially
Thank you
since
for
after
welcoming me into your home.
ISIS became a thing, and so they stopped using ISIS in the show,
Mhm.
and so they no longer work
You're
for
a respectable man, I hear.
ISIS. So they started doing like other
How
things.
many times
like,
can we say ISIS
Yeah,
without getting
ISIS.
flagged?
so they started. So then there was the episode where they sold or the season where they sold drugs, and then there was the one where they
Follow me if you
like the noir style season. I think that was season 7. But yeah,
You should
and
know,
each
Mr.
season is
Falcone,
like
my
has like a
analysts say
theme.
we're raising triple with Mayor Hill.
I
Hey,
think that's
what's-
great.
Yeah.
Take risks with your show. You know, I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Come
Yeah,
on,
no,
guys.
that's good.
Bruce.
So at this
You'll
point,
be
you must have
fine out
noticed
there.
the flag
So
that
plenty
occurs in
of
the
skirts
top
to
left
keep
part of
you
the screen
busy
that
for a
says,
few
you know, this
minutes.
character
Yeah.
will remember
Have a
that,
drink,
or yeah.
talk.
So
We talk
that,
a
of course, is the game
Just you and me.
signifying essentially like a flag that you're
Yeah,
choosing an option that
I'll,
affects things later on.
Right.
Get a drink or something.
Sometimes they're false flags. The
Christ.
character is not actually remembering anything; it just is doing that to make you think that this decision is, you know, somehow
Well,
important.
either that or
Yeah,
it's
well, that's
like,
just
oh
like
yeah,
Hopkins.
they'll remember this, but like
Wants to
in
make
an
sure the
okay way,
rules
not
are
in
followed.
like a, oh man, you
Right.
just effed up.
But in my
Right.
experience, there's the
Completely.
law.
But what I'm
and
saying
there's
is, I think
the right.
sometimes Telltale is
You
putting that
understand?
flag up to mean, no, this
And
has no
I'd
bearing on
rather
the story
see
whatsoever.
Harvey
We're just
actually
kind of
help this city
we're
instead of just
we're
saying
gaslighting you a little bit that this matters when it really
Unlike
doesn't.
most people I've met,
Yes.
Harvey
It's particularly
actually has
funny in
integrity.
Tales from the
He's
Borderland.
trying to make Gotham
There's
better
a
place.
moment where your characters are
So
all
am
drunk.
I.
There's a whole scene in
So
a
will
bar,
you.
and
Hey, we all carry
you
the city
say
on our
something
broken
to this
backs.
drunk character,
Like
and then they
lighten
pass
the
out
load
pretty much
if
right
we
after you
do
say
so
it,
together.
and it gives you the little flag, and it says, "This character
ain't
will
even
not
shooting
remember
about
that choice." And it's very funny because it's just like, okay,
Gives me a
Telltale,
Right,
you get away
'cause
with it this
I
time.
got
Yeah,
enough of
that's
that
funny.
as is. So, let's talk relationship. Chalk this for me. Be a pal. I can get Harvey the mayor's seat, or I can pull it out from under him. Whatever happened to being a gracious
Ooh, you
host?
went a little aggressive with the chalk
Yeah.
there.
Okay, imagine. This is me. And these are
Never,
all
never
my
chalk
friends.
another man's cue.
The businesses, restaurants, clubs,
Is that your family motto?
That's words to live by.
I don't know what that says about me because I chalked the hell out of his
I think we
wanna
know
keep
what that
everything
says about you, Tony.
I was like, yes, sir. Please, sir. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm definitely more of an Alfred.
Mr. Dent see the light. If need be. Between your businesses and mine, I bet we employ half the city. Now, we got a good thing going, so I don't see why we shouldn't team up.
Look, I'm only talking to you because Harvey asked, trusting a friend to know what's best for Gotham.
Now, that's a predicament. You listen to me, kid. I know somewhere inside that tuxedo you understand this situation. Money gets money.
I
The
should have
risks,
played
the
along with
alliances,
him.
the hidden
And
costs.
then maybe I could like learn
Your
some
father
important
knew which
information
hands
that
to
Batman
shake.
should know.
You've made your choices in life.
I know.
Now
I wasn't-
lie in
It's
that
the
bed.
break.
Whatever you say.
You're a good kid. You look like him, you know? It's nice that we understand each other.
Do we understand each other?
Master Bruce, your guests are leaving.
And they're taking their
recommend
wine
seeing them
glasses
out.
with them.
You wouldn't want to be rude.
Seriously,
Hey,
why
I
are they all
appreciate it,
carrying their
yes.
wine glasses out?
But
I never noticed
I
that.
don't
That's
think I'll
great.
put an offer on the house.
I'm gonna take this from
A
Bruce
nice guy
Mann.
like you should have a nice
Go, this
place
is a
to live.
nice
I'll be seeing you, Bruce.
wine flute.
While
It's
this
mine
city's
now.
Are you
still
kidding? I
standing.
would if it had like a little monogrammed BW or something.
Heck yeah. Batman. Yeah, and that's one hell of a cold open.
Yeah, that was I don't know, you're pushing it, Batman. That was more of Act 1 than a cold open.
Yeah.
But okay. Just saying, there's a limit to when it no longer is a cold open.
Seriously.
So, how old do you think Batman is as a character? If you had to just throw a guess out there.
Here?
No. What year was the first Batman comic?
Oh, how old is Batman, the franchise?
It's me.
You know, that's a really good question. I want to say
That's why I
Batman
asked
was
it.
created in the 1930s? 40s? I have no
Very
idea.
good. Very good. Yes, 1939. You just made it on the
Go
cusp
me! I was like, yeah, 30s, 40s. That's like right there. I'm so smart.
there. You are so smart. 1939 in Detective Comics number 27, written by Bob Kane and Bill Finger? I'm going to say Finger. I want to say Finger, but it's probably just Finger. Bob Kane, of course, was the artist.
I feel like Batman was created as a response to the Depression. I feel like that's just maybe that's not accurate, but I feel like, you know, escapism and all this stuff.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because he's not super, you know?
Right.
And I don't think he's ever been super. I don't think there's
No.
ever been...
No, he's never had, like,
really
abilities that he hasn't gotten from a gadget, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just quickly looking up to see if there's anything that says why he was this aristocrat. I don't really see anything. I'm sure there are essays upon essays about this.
We're now on day 3 of the factory fire that will not end. Crews have given up trying to combat the blaze at the Otisburg Processing Center, owned by Ace Chemical. Still no word on
Oswald Cobblepot.
whatever's burning in there has resisted
Him you know
everything
from Gotham.
the fire
Yes.
department has thrown at it.
Yeah.
They're recommending people avoid the area and seek
And it's so weird because my visual for Penguin is Danny DeVito.
Yeah, right.
That's,
Right. Like
And
the
to see-
grossest interpretation of Penguin. Because, like,
Yes.
he's just, like, gross looking.
but I also thought, that he should physically resemble a penguin. I thought that was part of it. And,
Yeah.
And they did a great job with that interpretation. But this Oswald is, if you'll excuse the expression, pretty sexy.
Yeah.
For the riders of Gotham's overcrowded Skyrail cars to contend with. Gotham police are investigating
Oh, so
multiple cases
Harvey's
of
calling for your
riders
head.
receiving abdominal wounds from an ice pick or other pointed weapon while pressed into
How does
the
that
tight
feel?
quarters with fellow passengers. A few
Feels okay.
died, while
He
most
doesn't
have
know.
been admitted to Gotham General in critical condition.
Let me ask a pointed question. You are playing as a vigilante.
Yeah.
Does at any point, because of the nature of this game, you're making decisions, you're making moral choices that are going to affect the entirety of this fictional city, do at any point you say to yourself, oof, maybe I shouldn't even be Batman. Maybe that's a bad thing.
The back computer should be able to read
feel like a
whatever
no is
data is on
coming.
that stolen drive.
Yeah, I don't know. No?
There were a couple times in the playthrough that I struggled going, ooh, is there a way for me not to take action? Maybe that's the message that the writers are getting at, but no, I don't think so.
Okay, I think the controls here at the computer are weird. Everything else has been fine so far, but just like having to move the camera
Let's
and
find out
the
what was so important.
whatever, I don't know. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Which would not surprise me, to be honest.
Wayne Manor has 7
I think
bedrooms,
you've got
2
it. I
kitchens,
think
a
that
library,
Telltale
a
has these
gymnasium, a basketball court, and a movie theater.
quote-unquote non-linear
Yet I always
moments when
find
you
you
can kind of
here,
explore the environment
in a dark, damp cave,
get as much background info as you want.
in front of a computer.
I think it's intentional. They
I'm
slow down
more
the
at home
pace,
here than the rest of
slow
it.
down, move the
Then we should
cursor
build a
over,
bedroom
select.
down
I think
here.
it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Sure, I can see the headlines now. Bruce Wayne, billionaire, entrepreneur, cave dweller.
I mean, we
Quite
did
an
just get
eclectic resume.
a whole lot of exposition,
Did you
though,
find out
so
what
do I
that,
really need this slowdown?
Catwoman
You know what I mean?
Well, in the process.
What are we looking at?
In the earlier Telltale games, there was a lot more focus on puzzles, on collect this thing, combine it with that thing, and use that in a really esoteric way to make this thing go. Especially Sam and Max and before, that was the formula. Starting in, I would say, I don't know, maybe Jurassic Park, they moved away from that, and they much more focused on the quick time events, just action, making dialogue choices, but there was no puzzle to solve. Maybe 1 or 2 small elements, nothing like it was before. And I think Batman continues that tradition of moving away from the traditional adventure game, the traditional puzzles, into more of a play this episode of a TV show, essentially.
Everything flows through that point.
Oh, we're putting you in a movie.
Maybe it's where Mayor Hill picks up his dry cleaning.
Can't make sense of it yet. There's still plenty of files to decrypt.
I decrypted 0% of his data, and I'm already trying to analyze it.
I saved you what I could.
Oh, Bruce.
Yeah, the same could be said to the bar.
I could just picture you on
literally
dial-up.
Pry Mrs. Zeller back away. But you'll be pleased to hear everyone has left, including Mr. Falcone. I would have been tempted to be far less polite. I'd recommend leaving the...
Actually, it occurs to me there must have been a storyline where actually he's been around since the 30s.
Right.
There must have been some point where someone was like, "Ooh, he's probably connected to the internet."
I've seen you take down worse
Right, because what did Batman do before? Did the 1939 version of Batman have some sort of futuristic computer where he just sat and analyzed data from hard drives? Probably not. Probably not. He had to do real life investigative work, hit the streets and figure shit out.
Even the Adam West version of Batman didn't do any of this. I mean, he had a lot of the gadgets and stuff, but none of them were digital. They were all very 60s levers and
yeah.
No, I already checked the codex.
Not much to find, apparently.
A few burglaries, break-ins. Seems to lay pretty low.
You could learn a thing or two.
Have you ever watched Batman Beyond? See, that's the thing. That's an area where I have a lot of experience with Batman, is in animated Batman things.
I don't like
not Batman Beyond. I did watch the original animated Batman. So good. It's such a good freaking cartoon. But no, is Batman Beyond, was that very good?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting that there was the older Batman dude, the Bruce Wayne guy who was older, and then there was his young apprentice Batman who was, you know what I mean? That's Batman Beyond, right?
Would undo all the long nights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming.
I think that's Batman Beyond, where there's
more than ever.
Yeah.
You have to be careful.
I have a job to do.
Anyway, yeah, a lot of the animated Batman stuff is really, really good.
For the car, I presume. Well,
yes,
the car
I'm
helps.
confirming that Batman Beyond was about a teenage Batman under the tutelage of an elderly Bruce Wayne.
Don't worry.
Yeah, that's good
It's
stuff.
our gift and our curse.
Excuse me.
One more worry for the list.
Oh, and apparently Batman Beyond is the same universe as Batman the Animated Series, and then the new Batman Adventures, which I didn't even know was a thing.
I thought I saw.
Totally failing my knowledge here.
20
Did not
years.
ever watch the
Last
new
time I saw
Batman
him.
Adventures.
I've never seen those either, but I was pretty sure that the other two series were connected because I think they had a lot of the same voice people. Maybe I'm making that up.
Discharge illegal
I know.
No, yeah, it looks like the new Batman and the new Superman Adventures were very stylistically similar.
If I'm using the expression correctly.
Unfortunately, you are.
Oswald claimed he only wanted to catch up, but his behavior following his family's collapse.
You were saying right now?
Troubling.
Oh, I don't know what I was saying.
He's returning now. Haven't the faintest
Lost
idea.
to time.
I think he just wants to reconnect. Criminal record or not, he's still an old friend.
A lot can change over the years. If I remember correctly, Oswald was
There's a
fond
lot
of
of
the
like
old
one-off
firecrackers in the
animated
toilet.
Batman like
I worry what he's graduated
movie
to.
things too that are pretty
you
good.
and young Master Cobblepot used to
Oh,
be
I was
close.
saying that the Joker,
I'd advise you to be
the
cautious.
Joker is voiced
But I
by
know you can't abandon
Mark Hamill
good mystery until it's solved.
in a lot of
I'll
those
be careful,
Batman
Alfred.
things, which
When you
is
see what's
interesting.
become of his park, I think you will.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He reprises his role in the video games as well, so he's a mainstay of the community. And, maybe my understanding of who Mark Hamill is not correct, but I think that he does not have to do that he is above it. And the fact that he comes and does it every time shows a real passion for it.
I think he's just genuinely a cool dude, and he enjoys doing that. And, he doesn't have to, because, he's set for life on, Star Wars money. What does he need to do anything else for? But, also, I've kind of, I haven't met him, but I've been, so I used to volunteer at New York Comic Con, and there was one time where I was working his booth, and I just watched him, interacting with the people that were, coming up to, get his autograph and whatever, and he just seemed like he's just this really chill guy who genuinely likes interacting with people and knowing his fans or whatever.
Very cool. So what does working a booth entail? Is that just sort of I assume you were his bodyguard?
Yeah, totally. No, it's basically, so anytime you volunteer at Comic-Con in New York, or also they run, the same people run C2E2 in Chicago, and there's the Star Wars Celebration that the same people run. Reed Pop, they run a lot of conventions. Basically, you're just crowd control, making sure people are getting where they need to be, making sure the lines are not blocking the, the walkways and all that stuff. So when you're told to go to a certain booth on the show floor or whatever, you're basically there to make sure that things don't get overwhelming or out of hand, and that people are where they're meant to be and all that sort of stuff. Basically, you're just trying to make sure everyone has a really great time, which is cool.
Great.
No, that's cool. What a great experience that must have been.
There's the statue, but
it was fun.
I
did it
actually
for
made
many
to
years in a
Comic-Con,
row. Really?
So, kind of jealous.
I mean, the great thing about it is that you do get in for free, and whenever you're not on shift, you can go and have fun. And they say it's volunteer, but in the starting the year that I started, which I think was 2012, 2011, I can't remember, they started paying the volunteers. It's minimum wage, but it's still you get a small sum of money to just hang out and have fun with people all weekend.
No, that's great. That's really great.
I mean, I don't know how it is at other conventions that are, because these are conventions that are run by Reed Pop, so it may be different at San Diego or wherever, Emerald City, but that's the experience I had.
And they're pretty crowded now. I mean, would you say, what's a regular ticket now? 100, 150?
Oh goodness, I have no idea. I have literally, I think only 1 year I paid to get into Comic-Con in New York, and it was, I only paid for the 1 day pass, and it was pretty cheap then, but that was 2011. So, but I do know it has gotten pretty pricey, and I remember 1 year. So they started
wallet cash.
They started putting the RFID chips into the tickets, into the passes, so that when you go through security,
you're making a mistake.
They can say, "Oh yeah, this pass went in," because 1 year they had people making fake passes and getting in, and it was so crowded you could not even move on the show floor. You just could not move. There were so many people, and they were like, we didn't sell this many tickets. We know there should not be this many people here." And so that's why they start putting the tags in, so people couldn't cheat the system and make fake passes and get into the show for free or whatever.
Yeah, just from a safety point of view, that sounds totally necessary.
Yeah, completely. You don't know who's coming in, you don't know what they've got on them, you don't know whatever, and And plus, like, just even, like, the fire hazard stuff. Blocking doorways, too many people, overcrowding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my park! Mine! You hear that?
I wanted to bring up because
Oh, hey Bruce.
I've noticed this trend,
little,
and I love this trend.
Yeah,
When
good as new.
the Penguin messaged you just
That was a
then,
right little scrap, eh?
we didn't have a cutaway to the
Kickstarts
phone.
system like a dash of adrenaline.
We
eh?
do what we've been doing
Besides,
in
someone
modern
needed to deal
television
with
and
the
film,
rubber situation
which is
here. Places
overlaying, a graphic representation of an iPhone text message, an
10
Android text message,
decades.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere on the
what? I
screen.
haven't been mugged once,
And
thanks.
I don't know when we started doing that, but it was so obvious. It was like
yeah,
this
that wasn't why I
obvious
brought
thing that
you
we
in, mate.
discovered, oh guys,
Right now,
we can just do it this
I'm
way,
trying
and
to
it's so
recognise
much
the little
faster
I used to run
and easier,
around
and
this
everyone
place with.
knows what this
Back when it
technology
wasn't-
is. So we don't
Right.
need to
Like this.
we don't need to close up on the phone, or we don't need
Right.
to close
Used
up.
to mean
Like back in like I Love
place was
Lucy,
safe
when
for
they would
kids,
close up on
for
the
families. People came from all over
telegram or
this.
whatever for like 30
Oh, Mum
seconds,
and
you
Dad,
could
they
read
put
it.
So much
Mm-hmm.
work in here.
It's like we learned a better way of doing it.
Yeah.
And it feels like recently we've learned this better way of displaying text messages. And I think was Sherlock, the BBC series,
I was
was it the
actually
first
just going
time?
to say that. I was just going to bring up Sherlock.
Mum, committed.
Because I can't think of a better example of or more clear example than that. Can you?
No, because they do it so well. Like Sherlock will pull out his phone,
Alfred told me.
but it just like puts it on the screen. Like you don't look at the physical screen on his phone. They just put the text or whatever up on the, they just
Gave you
Yeah.
a good life.
break that fourth wall and put it right
Used to run
there.
in the same circles we did. Hobnobbing parties.
And I think it was great, and I love that every other medium has seemed to pick up on it because it's
sorry,
obvious.
guys.
It's the obvious solution to
No
that
one
problem.
should have to
Yeah.
go through that.
Yeah,
Thanks, Bruce. But we are not the only ones.
it's like when you
suffering.
play Grand Theft Auto, the most recent one was that 5,
I saw you at the
Yeah.
party last night. I
Yep.
thought,
and like you have to like
Bruce
pull
Wayne.
up the
Ah,
phone
as
or
he
whatever.
changed a bit.
Like you have to like push the
Yeah.
buttons to get the phone
Maybe
screen
I
to show.
was
Like
wrong.
just show me it on the screen. I don't freaking
Shouldn't have
care.
been
I don't want to push
surprised
buttons
when
while
I
I'm
saw
like
you with
running from
Carmine
cops or
Falcone.
whatever. Just put it up there.
made himself right at home.
Contentious.
Boy.
GTA still very popular,
no.
still
I
a
only
thriving
agreed to
multiplayer
meet
community,
because
but
of Harvey.
I agree with you. There are games that
Wherever any
use
man who
the
smiles that
technology
much, Bruce,
as a menu
they
interface.
usually
Grand
are
Theft Auto,
the
of course. South
Now,
Park
Cody made a
famously
stack
did
of
it
cash
as a
records
joke.
as a
They
mile
have
high,
Mm-hmm.
ruining
Facebook
families
as their sort of menu, and
All he
the
needs is a
clone of
little
Instagram as well.
Okay.
The one game that we played, Infamous
Maybe it's into
2,
what you
they
get paid.
use the phone as the device of how our characters
Sorry, mate.
communicate to each
This
other.
one
When,
you're a lot more grim than I
Devin
think.
communicates with his brother, he
Things are
sort of
gonna be
calls
on
in
the
and says,
upswing
"Oh,
soon,
I'm
mate."
activating your GPS," and the GPS becomes your map. And
Right.
The idea is that it's your phone map.
Yeah.
Clever,
And I'm here to
but they
help.
kept it on the screen. It was their way of explaining the regular HUD,
Which
as
brings
HUD,
opposed
yeah.
to GTA, which
Right.
forced you into the phone.
You see,
Yeah.
you throw a rock in
Yeah.
any direction, you break a window that Wayne Enterprises owns. As the rich and powerful go, oh,
Yeah,
you
and the thing
top
about Grand Theft
Gotham's
Auto
list.
doing that is that there are so many other buttons to push in that game, because you gotta, there's the weapons menu, and then you run in, and there's like, your map or whatever, and like, I just,
That's a
why
battle
add that
you
extra
will
step
win,
of
Ross.
like
No. Oh, I've learned it.
pulling out your phone?
I've got great
I
affection for you,
played
Bruce.
plenty of hours
I
of
really
GTA 5.
do.
My big
Which
thing
is
about why
why
I
I'm
never
warning you.
did the grind, by the grind I mean my platinum grind,
Get all the
for
trophies.
it,
Yeah.
You're on the right side.
is that, the menu design and the loading time just to get into the game,
Good seeing
just
you,
to get
Bruce.
into the
Well,
multiplayer, just to get
I
into
got some rocks
anything,
to collect.
I didn't have the patience
Cheers.
for it. I didn't want to sit there for the 3-4 minutes it took to load every asset up. It just felt like they had such a huge reach with this game, and it felt like I don't want to get lost in this world. It's not interesting enough for me to get lost in. I don't want to have to travel from one side of Los Santos all the way to the other, and it takes me like 45 minutes in game to do that.
Right.
Or I pay for a cab. It felt like such
Yeah.
a chore.
Yeah.
And I know I'm in the minority there, but I didn't enjoy it.
Well, the thing that is bothering people now about Rockstar in their games is that they have microtransactions in game, and so they have released far fewer games in recent years than they had in past years, because they can continue to earn money from Grand Theft Auto 5 with people like, I don't even know what they are in that game, what the microtransactions are or whatever, but you know, and you see their like game lineup from like, you know, however many years ago, and it's like they released
everyone.
like 7 games one year, and the next year it's like 5, and now
Mr.
like
Dent.
when was the last time Rockstar released a game? Like,
Hey, Bruce,
can you
mind
even
if we
remember?
swap cars? I mean, my
You know,
husband
like-
is
Grand Theft Auto 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, does she have charm.
You know, it's funny you mention that because
We didn't
Grand
bring
Theft
you all out here
Auto
to discuss
they're
cars,
very
honestly.
ballsy with the way that they do the
We're here
microtransactions. In
at
that, you know,
Arkham
you're
Asylum.
using their
Ever since
in-game
it opened
currency
its
bought by
doors,
real currency
Arkham
to
has
purchase
been a
things like
breeding
car
ground for the
upgrades, house
criminally
upgrades,
insane.
etc., etc.
Right.
However,
Its
the
methods
currency
for
is labeled
rehabilitation,
as
crude.
shark
Its
cards.
security,
They're essentially credit
life.
cards.
Okay.
But
Still,
shark and
those who
whale
do
and these
get
aquatic
out, or
animals
God forbid,
are
escape, are even
terms
more
used in the
dangerous than before
industry
they
to
went in.
describe the type of
Arkham
player
Asylum
who
is the
spends an
cancer
inordinate
on
amount of
Gotham.
money on microtransactions to justify their
Today,
existence.
Mm-hmm.
So a whale is
sizable
typically a
contribution
person
from
who
this man here.
clearly is an addict of some
We break
kind. Like
ground
clearly
on
they
a
have
state-of-the-art
either a
mental
ridiculous
health care
amount of
facility.
expendable income, they'll spend
One that will
thousands and
improve
thousands
the
of
well-being
dollars,
of Gotham
or
and
they have a
its
problem
citizens
and they spend thousands of
for years
dollars
to
they don't
come.
actually
That they
have.
don't have, yeah.
While a
Wayne has a
shark
few
is
words he'd like to
a
say.
smaller variety of that.
Bruce?
But the fact that they call it a shark card is kind of like, whoa, you're really
For those with
calling yourself
mental
out,
health
and it's
issues,
ballsy. It's ballsy
there
to
are
do
no
that.
cuts
Yeah.
or scrapes.
Huh.
Their ailments are often
Fair
I
invisible.
mean, Grand Theft Auto, of course, is
But
all about the
inside,
parody. It's all about parodying culture.
suffering.
Sure.
So it makes sense that they would continue that trend
Yeah.
with parodying
You know,
themselves.
when I was
but you know, it
9
also
years
kind of
old,
sidesteps the thing,
my parents
the
took me to
big
see a
question
movie
of,
about a
should we
hero
even be doing
in a
this?
mask.
Is this feeding into
hero
those gambling
stood up to
dopamine
oppression
centers
and
and
defended the
ethically
people of
dubious?
justice, no matter
Right.
the cost. That night,
Political rant number 2.
my parents paid the ultimate cost defending me from a man.
That's fun.
I want like an
needed the
on-screen,
kind
you
of
know,
help this new
real
facility
flowery,
will
written
provide.
out.
We'll get there.
I have faith. That's resolution number 2.
this
Let's see if I
facility-
mess it up by February.
And our next mayor, we can put a dent in crime.
Today, on the anniversary of that fateful night, we dedicate this facility to Thomas and Martha Wayne and usher in a new era of healing for Gotham.
I'm sure you all have plenty of questions about the new hospital, so let's open it up. You first, Miss Vale.
Thank you. With the opening of this new hospital, what does this mean for Arkham Asylum? What happens to
Very
the old
heartwarming,
building?
Batman.
I think Arkham has only done harm to Gotham. It's made criminals more unstable, put our citizens in jeopardy. We
They will remember
can
that.
do better. All right, who's up next? You there.
Mr. Wayne, Julia Remark of the Tribune. My
Julia
sources say you
Remark?
welcomed alleged mob boss Carmine Falcone into your home.
Who?
You even spoke
I
with
don't know,
him
that was
behind
the
closed
reporter's name.
doors.
Her last name is Remark.
I love it. I wonder if that's an existing
Harvey
character. Let's
is the
find
one
out.
who invited him.
Bruce?
I just think it's funny that
Personally,
she's
I
a
would
reporter.
never welcome
Her
that
name
man
is
into my
Remark.
home.
I don't know.
Anyone else have a question?
She is an
Please keep your
existing
questions
reporter.
on topic, people.
Um,
We're here about the hospital, remember?
let's see.
But Mr. Wayne, this morning the Globe received evidence of an
Alfred
offshore
is
bank
her
account
father.
managed by
Oh.
Carmine Falcone and your father,
Probably not in
Thomas
this
Wayne.
universe,
What
but
exactly
in
are
the original
you
comics.
implying?
She first
Transactions
appeared
connected
in
to
April of
organized crime
1981.
going back years and continuing to
And then
this
last
day.
appeared October
The paper trail
1986
ties your
in the
family
comics.
directly to the mob. Care to comment?
I don't comment on rumors. Why don't we just stick to real journalism here?
Mr. Wayne, is all your money dirty?
Is the Wayne family legacy built on lies?
Did you know
But
about
yes, you're
this,
right.
Bruce?
Remark
How
is
long has your
amazing,
family
yeah.
been dealing with Falcone?
What's the name of that when
Could
the
the
name
allegations
matches
be
the job?
true?
What aren't you telling us?
I'm sure
Does the
there's a
mob sign
word
Wayne
for it.
Enterprises
I want to
paychecks?
know. I want to
I
know
think you
that
should check your
word.
source. Sounds to me like an intern is finally putting their
Is
creative
when
writing
a
minor
personal
to good
name
use.
aptly or
Mr.
peculiarly
Wayne,
suits
Mr. Wayne! How
the
long has your
owner.
family been dealing with Falcone?
Could the allegations be true?
Interesting.
Did you know about this, Bruce? What aren't you telling us?
I'm sorry about this, Bruce. I don't know where the hell it's coming from. Damage control's my territory. We'll talk later. Everyone, please settle down. I'll be fielding your questions from here on out. Please, let's try to keep this civilized.
Bruce, I've been trying to reach you. The police are inside the manor.
But why? Why are the police here? So, I've earned 3 trophies so far while we've been playing. I don't know if you want to talk about the trophies in this game, because we haven't yet.
I'm just waiting for Bruce Wayne to shout out false news, fake news.
Fake news. Fake news!
I'm afraid we can't.
And then he'll say that
not.
he's a stable genius, and everything will
Warren.
be good.
Yeah. Oh my
It's not
god, a
personal.
Trump Telltale game.
I had the boys turn the lights off, keep a low profile.
There's gotta be
I'll
a
avoid that
mistake.
topic entirely, and I'll begin talking about trophies.
Maybe
How
we
about
made
that?
a mistake. Maybe you did.
From PSNprofiles.com,
Alfred,
which is a trophy
keep an eye on
aggregator
them.
for
Make
trophy
sure they only
hunters.
take
These are the
what they
people who
have to.
specifically log
course,
in
sir.
to share their trophy collecting exploits with others. So these typically
I
represent
meant what I said
how
about
difficult the
not
trophies are.
personal.
They've
The
given
only
the
one
following
files
stats
related to
for
Wayne
Batman the
Enterprises.
Telltale series.
The
1
warrant
platinum,
covers your place,
5 gold,
places
10
of
silver,
residence,
15 bronze, for a
and any
total of
company holdings are
1,155 points.
extensive.
Now, this is the
And
trophy
what do you
list for the
expect to
entirety
find?
of the series, not just
for
the
our
first
analysts back
episode.
at the
Okay.
precinct to figure out.
And that's important
I
because some of the
can't comment.
earlier Telltale games, like Batman
valid
and the ones
warrant.
before
You
it,
gotta serve it.
they only had trophy
Mayor
lists for
Hill
each episode,
signed
so
up on
there
this
were not
himself.
platinums available.
As long as he's mayor, he calls the shots.
Okay, so
The
you
platinum
just
for this
do
game
whatever
is
Mayor Hill
70.99%, which makes it a common trophy.
Oh.
And
Hill
the
and
easiest
I-
platinum that we've encountered
vested
in our
interest to keep
exploits
things
on the show
professional.
so far.
I would assume then most of the trophies
Doesn't
are
mean I like
just
the words whistling
earned
through his
like
windpipes.
organically. Like there's nothing that really you
I
have
don't
to
know
go out
how
of your
your neck
way to
ended
do
up
just
on
because
Mayor
of the way the
Hill's
game is
shopping block, but
played.
Here we are.
Hill knows
I'm
if
trying
I
to
go
think
down, Harvey's
if it's
campaign goes
possible
out.
for you to play this
That'd be a real
episode
shame.
and
Mr.
get
Dent's
all
the
the
only
trophies
DA I
with
ever
your eyes
trusted to make a
closed.
conviction stick.
I'm honestly trying to think if
Mayor,
it's
I think he
possible.
can finally turn things around for us.
Well, because I think the 3 that I've earned
For
so
all
far
our
have
sakes,
just been like,
afraid
oh,
you've
you
got nothing
completed
to
this
hide.
portion of the game.
Right, and that's the entirety. Everything is story-based. You can't possibly miss any trophy.
Right.
I'm literally trying to think if there's anything that... No, there are some light puzzles you would need your eyes open for.
Okay.
It's very easy to get platinum trophies in Telltale games, and a lot of trophy hunters use these games to pad out their otherwise lacking lists.
Right. Like if you're just looking to get extra points to like level up your trophy number. I do go in here.
To the extreme that some people even say, "Oh, I see you have 7 Telltale games in your trophy lists."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like
they're
they
just
judge you
like,
for it.
Okay. Is it probably almost as bad as getting the platinum in that one that there was like the only point of it was to get the platinum trophy or whatever? Like the one that got
Either
removed.
This Is Mayo or
Yeah.
the #1 platinum trophy
Yeah.
puzzle game, something. Yeah.
Like, oh, you have that game in your library.
You know, there are some trophy hunters who legitimately will scorn you if you have like Hannah Montana the game because they know why you have it.
Right.
It's very obvious.
Right.
At least the Telltale games
Bruce?
are good. I think they're good games. I don't think there are many people who would say they're not.
I didn't mean to
At least
interrupt,
have
but-
some worth.
Right.
These games. You can't make that argument with My Name Is Mayo. You know.
It's not a problem, really.
Ah, Bruce. First the mayor's office, now
I mean,
Wayne Manor.
I do want to be clear. I
Gotham
do own
continues
My Name
its
Is Mayo, and
streak
I
of
did get that.
break-ins.
Oh yeah. No, I
Really
don't
going
blame
for
you.
the record, huh?
To be clear.
Listen, Bruce. A scandal surrounding a beloved family like yours captures the public's attention. I can help you get the right kind of attention. Through my connections at the Gazette, I have all kinds of access.
You were way nicer to
I
Vicky
can
Vale
dig
than
up
I was.
whatever you need to fight this.
What's your angle?
She's cute.
Not all
Whatever.
reporters just want a headline. Some of us are old-fashioned.
Amazing how that
still
didn't
want
work
the
on me.
Gazette received this
My
supposed
thoughts were,
evidence like
what are
every
you
other
doing
media
in my
outlet.
house?
And it's all
Get out of
hearsay.
my house.
Flimsy
Why
stuff.
are you
Get out of
here?
my
Isn't a
house.
shred of hard proof.
Still, allegations like this,
No
they-
one wants
they don't
you
magically
here.
appear. Someone is going after my family, after me.
Obviously, the sender didn't identify themselves. We have no idea who it could be. I mean,
I
no
like
one's even done their due
Bruce's
diligence
tie.
on this yet. The press saw the fumble, they
His
grabbed
tie?
the ball and ran.
His tie, yeah.
Hill
It's like a
wants me out
thin
of the
tie. It's
picture
got
because
like a
with my
light
backing,
stripe.
Harvey
Yeah.
wins in a landslide.
I'd be interested to
This is
see
where
if
all
it has
signs
like a
point to
pointed
Hill.
bottom or if it's a flat bottom.
You're a king.
I love
These
the
are the
ties that are
questions we want to
And
know.
Harvey
that are
Dent
flat
is
at the bottom.
Gotham's
Those are
knight
my
in shining
favorite.
armor just waiting for the crown.
You like a
You're the first
square
target
bottom
on
tie.
his
Yeah,
list.
square bottom tie. I'm a hipster,
Fascinating.
man. I'm a
By
hipster.
tonight, this
Every
scandal
tie I've
will be
ever
broadcast
crocheted or
to
knit
every
has been
screen
a
in
square
Gotham.
bottom tie.
Everyone will be
I
talking about
love it.
This isn't my first
I would love a
pass
knitted
through
tie
the
one day.
rumor mill.
We gotta talk
I know
off
the
camera.
damage you can do.
Then go on the record. Right here, right now, and stop it. You need to get out ahead of this. Your side is what matters, not wild speculation.
Turn it
Never
off,
did like pocket
Miss Vale.
squares though.
But Bruce,
Until
No, you're not a
I
pocket
know
square
what's
fan?
really going on, I am
No,
not
I always felt
speaking
like it was
to
a
the
lot
press
of
again.
work to get it to look not floppy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Not like
And I
you've
felt
just
like-
shoved a
you're
piece of
gonna
fabric
beat
into your
this,
pocket.
Bruce. Dwayne's
You know,
always
I
committed.
don't want people to go, oh, I think he
Goodbye, Miss
blows his nose with that. And I
Yeah.
could never get it to look like it was not
Right.
anything more than
It's
decorative.
like this is this is functional, not
I hate to admit it, but everyone smells
not
smoke.
just fashion.
A fire is heading this
Function.
way.
Batman
But no, you
gives
don't want
me
that look.
plenty
You
of
just want it
enemies.
to look
My
fashionable.
family. We've
I'm
done nothing
trying.
but
Trying my
support
best.
Gotham, even in its darkest days.
All this
I
on the
would
anniversary of
close
your
the door
parents'
not
and
a
then fire
coincidence.
Alfred, who let this reporter into my
Harvey's
house.
the district attorney. He should have told me this was coming.
Maybe she just walked in.
Then find
Maybe
out
Bruce
why
Wayne
he
is really bad
didn't.
about locking his doors. I mean, he's Batman. What does he need to lock
That's a
his
good
doors
idea.
for?
That's a good idea when you have an entire Batcave directly underneath your mansion.
Well, to be fair, like the cops were in there at the time, so she could have probably just walked in.
That's true. He did have the cops in there. He did have a party the night before.
What?
He does not treat security the way that I think he
What the hell's
should.
going
Yeah.
on? Wait, does this have to do with what the reporters were
I mean,
talking about
I don't
this
invite
morning?
people into my house without
Yeah,
clearing my browser
someone's coming
history.
after
But I'm a
me.
nervous
Avoid
person.
making
What can I
another
say?
scene, shall we?
Right? Like,
This is already up my ass
I
as it
don't
is.
browse not in incognito mode anymore.
Mayor Hill authorized
No, I'm
this?
kidding.
Yeah, when the cops
That would be a
raided
pain in the
didn't
ass
know
because
there
like
was
it
a
doesn't save
non-incognito
any of
mode.
your things.
computers,
Like, oh.
hard drives, files.
You always have to like relog
You're
into
the
shit.
goddamn DA.
Yeah, that's no
Harvey.
I
fun.
didn't know about this. I swear. Hill totally blindsided me on this one.
Okay, I believe you, Harvey. Mayor Hill's trying to screw us both over with this move.
And then he's made two enemies.
Harvey's tie has a stripe to it too.
I just don't get it. Why would Hill
not
stick
solid
his
red.
neck
These
out over
dapper
this?
gents.
Just to tangle you up in
Oh,
some
look at it.
frivolous
Oh,
investigation?
you're right. It does.
It just doesn't make sense.
He doesn't have a pocket
I mean,
square
what could
though. He doesn't even have a
possibly hope to
pocket.
accomplish other than a few cheap headlines?
Harvey, what are you doing, man?
Oh, I didn't answer. I was too busy looking at his pockets.
God, what a mess. Bruce,
Harvey
I wish
didn't
I could
notice
just make
that.
this go away, but
know, he
I'm not
did.
sure if I can. If I get in the way of this investigation, Hill would be able to spin it as a conflict of interest. And that wouldn't be good for either of us.
You should probably distance yourself from me.
What? No, I can't do that.
Well, you may have to.
Don't say that. You...
There you are.
Hey, you?
Sorry. I got a habit of being late.
No, just glad you made it.
Does she have a black eye? Why doesn't Harvey say something about her having... I mean, I get it.
You didn't tell me you were bringing a friend
Do
to
you?
dinner.
I get like the... Yeah, I mean, it's Catwoman,
I hope I'm not
obviously.
interrupting anything.
But...
Just election nonsense.
Harvey never mentioned you before.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Did you see the
What was your
Halle
name?
Berry Catwoman?
It's Selena.
God, no.
Selena
Did you?
Kyle.
You
Yes.
saw
Strong
that?
grip you've got there.
Why?
Yes, and I want you to know that this is why
Don't
I
worry.
am the way I am.
I'm not
Is
gonna
because of
fall.
that movie.
Oh, sorry.
Explains so much, Tony.
Selena's new to town.
So
It
much.
should.
I've been
You
showing her
know,
around Gotham.
I don't want to be
introducing her to
like
people.
a Halle Berry hater,
You're an excellent
but I
tour
feel like
guide.
that movie was
Well,
probably the moment when
if
a
I
lot
lose
of
the
Academy
election, I
Award
guess I
people
can
went,
drive one of those
"Oh,
double-decker
we've
tour buses
made a
around town."
terrible
Right?
mistake."
So, Miss
And I
Kyle,
feel
what
like
brings you to
that
Gotham?
combined with
Business.
oh
She said
god,
she stays
what's
after
his
what
name?
happened
Who did
last
Snow
night.
Dogs after he won the Oscar? What's
I
his
was mugged.
name?
I'm just angry I let that
Cuba
No,
Gooding
what
Jr.
other
get away
movie?
with all my stuff.
Oh, yes.
still can't believe I let you walk home alone.
Just, you know, a bit premature.
I should've called
That's all
you
I'm
a
saying.
Yeah, they're like, oh
Did
wait,
you at least get a look at the guy?
wait.
Good enough to make an ID.
I'll get Gordon down to GCPD to work on a lineup.
Maybe wait a little longer
probably
before
long
giving
gone
out
by
that Nobel
now.
Peace Prize. Yeah.
Whatever that idiot took.
I hope not. These were important materials.
Ooh, sensitive.
Very.
Yeah, that was a
I don't know how I'm
particularly
gonna
bad
explain
one.
this to my
Though
client.
Michelle Pfeiffer,
When
she
things
was
like this
great.
happen in my
Yeah,
line
she was
of
pretty good.
work, people tend to
And then who
We
played?
should just
Was
be
it
thankful
Anne
you got away
Hathaway?
with the black
She was
eye.
the most recent. No.
I'm sure your clients will understand.
What? I don't know. Was she?
In my business.
Yeah, in the Christopher Nolan. Let me make
people
sure
aren't
that's
very
true.
forgiving.
Anne Hathaway, Catwoman. Yes,
At least I'm not
she
the only
was,
one who's taken
and
a
I
beating.
found her to be charming.
That press conference.
Honestly, I don't even remember her.
We've got
in
it under
them.
control.
Do you?
Oh, well, I guess she did not jump out at you.
I
then.
think I've only ever seen those movies like
Someone
once.
at my office has to know what's going
So
on.
like, you know, anything that happened in them, I don't
Uh,
really like. I have a terrible
excuse me a
memory
moment.
because I don't sleep well. So like,
Hey,
you know,
it's Harvey.
I don't know things.
Do you? So would you have seen these in the theater or probably like at home later?
No, I definitely saw them in the theater because they came out while I worked at a movie theater. I don't know if the last one. I mean, the last one didn't, but
Yeah.
in The Dark Knight. That one was one of the last
Nice to
movies I
meet you,
saw while
really.
I was employed at the movie theater.
Likewise.
And I only remember that because I had my wisdom teeth
explains a lot,
pulled,
actually.
and then that night we had an
How you can
employee
afford
screening
the
of it,
fancy
and so I was a
armor,
little bit out of
the
it still.
toys.
Or no, it was the night before.
Wouldn't
We had the
Harvey be
employee screening the night
surprised?
before I got my wisdom teeth pulled, and then
Not to mention,
when the movie came out,
everyone in this cafe.
Sorry about the black eye.
It's not the first time
I
you
had to
noticed
work, and we showed the
Sorry to
movie
hear
like
that.
overnight.
Don't
so our
worry.
first show was at
I'm not
like
gonna expose
midnight,
you.
obviously, like you do.
Yet.
And then
Yeah.
we played it because it was on IMAX. We played it
curious
on our
about
IMAX
something,
every
though.
3 hours throughout the night.
I do what I do. For
And it
money,
sold out
but
every
you?
show. Like, what? Who's going to see a
Swing.
movie at 3 o'clock in the flippin'
What's your
morning?
excuse?
But I had to
I
work
have to.
overnight, so I had to not
But
take my
you-
pain meds, and my face was
Why
like
take the risk?
I think
you know,
enough already.
throbbing,
The rest is my
basically.
secret.
But anyway,
And here
yeah. So I
was
saw
thinking
them.
we
I
were
definitely
starting
saw
to
them
get
in the
somewhere.
theater.
How disappointing.
You know, that's interesting because I
You have something
worked
that
at the theater as
belongs
well.
to me.
But
I want it back.
the movie that I remember the most
This is awkward
when I
for me.
used to work at the theater, and this is aging me,
I'm used to
was
robbing
the
people, not the
original
one
Tobey
being
Maguire Spider-Man.
Who hired you to break into the mayor's office?
That was the
My
movie that was
clients prefer to remain
constantly playing,
confidential.
and that I got to kind
They
of
don't know
clean
who
up
I am.
afterwards.
I don't know who
Yeah.
they
And
are.
so I remember,
But you know who
those
I
ending
am.
moments of that movie.
people I'm
I remember
working for,
the terrible
they don't
Chad
screw
Kroger
If I fail to deliver
song
that
that went
product, it costs a
along
lot
with,
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
Well, looks like you've made
You know,
your
it's
bed.
amazing the things
No,
that you remember
we've
about
made this
those
bed.
sorts of things.
And
Because
I'm
I
not
worked
gonna
in
lie
a
in it
movie theater
alone.
for 5 years, and
You
so
own
like, you see a lot of like
they don't
the
get what
last
they
5
want,
minutes of a
there will be
movie while you're waiting
consequences.
to clean up,
I don't
and
like
you know,
consequences.
it's like you
Oh,
could have
you
never
need my
seen
help.
the movie at
You seem pretty
all, but
capable
you
of
just know
handling
that
this
end credit
yourself.
music like
Oh,
so
I
well.
intend to.
It's weird
give me
the
back
things
the
You're totally
drive
right.
you
and I'll
pick
be
up.
on my merry
And
way.
it's interesting because
Yeah,
all of the
rather
Harry
not.
Potter movies now are on HBO,
Listen,
and so
I don't
I've been
have a
watching
lot
them on
of
HBO
time.
Go, and
My
while I'm watching them,
employer
I've been
is
crocheting,
expecting
and
me to
so
drop it off.
Where?
Just give it
the
back.
second
The
movie
address. Now.
No, give me the drive.
has like a hidden scene at the end credits, which I never knew. Like I never knew.
You're just going to have to trust me.
Does
I
it?
do trust.
Yeah, it has this little like it's like a 5-second
I guess I'm
scene of
screwing
like
away.
uh
My
the
contact.
with the
He'll
professor
be
that's like
expecting the
incompetent.
cat.
What's his name? Kenneth Branagh's character.
When are you supposed to meet him?
Oh,
15 minutes ago.
oh my gosh, my Harry Potter.
I
cred's
just
running
watched this
over.
movie like 2 days ago and I can't remember his name.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of
Everything okay here?
Secrets. Professor
You tell me.
I have
Lockhart.
my people working.
Yeah, so it's
gonna straighten
so
everything
you know
out.
in the movie in the
feel
plot of the
better
movie
already.
he erases his own memory by accident, and so
Right,
at the
right.
end
Sorry,
of the
but I've
movie.
So
The
soon?
hidden
Aren't
scene
you
at the
gonna
end of
stay
the
for a
credits is
drink?
just like a clip of
Yeah,
like
Bruce.
you know because
Stay
at the
for a
beginning when you
drink?
first meet him he's like signing
I'd
his
love
book
to,
at the
but I've got
bookstore,
another
and so at
appointment
the end of
and
the
I really
movie
don't wanna be
it's
late.
like
Oh, all right,
the
then.
front
Don't
front
forget to
window
change
of a
into your suit.
bookstore where it's like him on the cover of a book and he's in a straitjacket and he's like screaming and it's like who am I, Gilderoy Lockhart, like he's there signing that book, which I think is hilarious. Because like he doesn't know who he is. How's he
I
gonna write a
didn't know
book
that.
about
The
not knowing
name
who he is?
And the post. That's crazy.
You just totally cut out a bunch. I have no idea what you just said.
Alfred, I'm at the warehouse. No sign of Catwoman's contact. It's quiet.
The sound of an ambush.
Hello?
Stay on guard.
Hello.
Okay. There you go. Okay.
From the future. That's amazing. I did not know that. And that's
Yeah, I
very
didn't know
cool.
that either. Like, I was crocheting, so I didn't turn the credits off because I was like in the middle of a row and I was counting stitches and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna keep this going, and then there it was, hidden scene.
Cross-stitch problems. Am I right?
No, because they don't cross stitch.
This wasn't a
Jeez.
handoff.
Ooh.
It was a massacre.
Killed it. I thought I had a good joke there, and I killed it. You know who I blame for this?
Count the pieces.
No.
Oh, good.
Gilderoy
Halle
Lockhart.
Berry's Catwoman.
That's what I'm gonna find out.
That's good too.
Gordon,
Yeah.
East Side Dogs.
Yeah,
Warehouse
you know
130.
though, you'd think a cat would know the difference between like cross stitch and crochet, because with cross stitch you don't really have a lot of like loose yarn like floating around, and cats know yarn, you know, like cats are like yarn things.
That's their wheelhouse.
Yeah, yarn is definitely in a cat's wheelhouse. Okay, I'm just gonna point out that this wants me to look at exploded human remains, and I'm a bit grossed out by that, but I'm gonna look at them anyway.
Left to bury.
Get your face all up in there. The Walking Dead in particular, that series,
Yeah.
it makes you do some pretty gnarly stuff.
Oh yeah, I
mean,
don't
it's
doubt
like-
that at all.
It's very like, yeah, get your hand in there. Oh, cut that off. I mean, it's
Okay.
very, oh my god.
I would just like to
Potential
point out that when
psychological
Batman just now like
stuff.
pushed his buttons on his arm and then hold his hand over the thing, he said aloud,
Computer
analyzing.
compound for further analysis.
Why would he need to tell himself that he's analyzing this stuff?
You don't do that. You don't announce what you're doing.
I mean, I do because I'm insane, but
I imagine you sitting down, you begin knitting, and you're like knitting.
Whatever exploded
Tony,
did so with enough force
what
to
did we
ignite
just talk
the person
about?
standing next to it.
I got nothing else. I'm sorry. I'm going with what I know.
it's crocheting.
Catwoman's fault.
I'll see when we get back together.
But yeah, I do like, I'll be allowed like, oh shoot, I skipped a stitch, and then like I'll have to like go back. But I'll say these things aloud to myself because that's just how I go. But like, why would Batman need to say to himself that he's analyzing stuff?
Same mercs that broke into City
Well, he is
Hall.
talking to, maybe he's talking to Alfred. Because he just says a lot of, he's just like saying stuff aloud like he needs to talk to himself.
Alfred is sitting in a big leather chair eating Doritos going, mm-hmm, that's nice.
The canister exploded, sending
He's like got it on the big screen in the living room.
He does.
I'm glad you arrived after the heist.
He is talking to, Alfred just talked back to him.
That.
Oh, there we go. He really is like you and I.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Except as if Alfred had no idea what Batman actually did.
Right.
Okay, so what do you think
Looks
about
like a bullet
Batman
started this.
being a detective? I mean, amazingly, this is the one part of his character which I feel like
The
has
point of
changed
entry's melted.
very little over
Yeah,
the years.
well-
I mean, he's always been a detective.
But the thing about it is, like we've said, his investigative styles have changed dramatically. Because, like, yeah, he's a detective, but, like, in 1939, he actually had to do the legwork like he's doing here now, investigating stuff, looking at the scene of a crime, trying to figure shit out. But, like we saw earlier, now he's got all this technology stuff that assists him and, like, does basically all the hard work. Like, he just, like, sat there and analyzed the chemical that was on the ground with, like, a thing on his hand. Like, that's not like hard, you know, like that's not real detective work. He's like,
I imagine the glove literally does nothing. It's just colored lights and it's just a cell phone. He's like, Alfred, Google this for me.
Alfred, this is what this chemical smells like. Tell me what it is.
Should I sniff, Alfred? No, Mr. Wayne, don't sniff.
Inhale.
Calling card.
He's been busy as of late.
Oh my god, Incompetent Batman is exactly what I want. Actually, that's kind of Lego Batman, isn't it? It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Good thinking, sir.
That's so funny. But yeah, I mean, like, if I was more aware of Batman, like, before the technology stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like seeing, like, I feel like
face slashed, throat
I
torn
feel like
open.
Batman would be like the Veronica Mars of detectives. Like you know what I mean? Like he'd get in there and he'd really like be undercover and like trying to figure shit out and like not really letting people know what he was up to and like, you know, because he has this whole Bruce Wayne cover where he can like talk to people and like figure stuff out without needing to be dressed like the Bat, you know? I feel like that's very Veronica, because Veronica Mars can like, she's sort of the outcast, but she also is in with the popular people from like before, you know? So like she can like still float in that world.
This man's been badly
Yeah.
burned.
Well, Veronica Mars,
The
she was
damage
also
seems to
like this
originate
noir
from
detective, and
inside
she
the
could kind
skull.
of walk between all the different cliques and groups. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And also the talking to yourself is very,
oh yeah.
very Batman as well.
Yeah.
You know, I did a little bit of research here.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been talking about technology in Batman, and it looks like that technology actually has been a very large motif in Batman since the beginning.
Oh, really?
As early as July 1939, you know, he had the arsenal of the utility belt and the Batarang and the Bat Gyro and the Batmobile. You know, it's hard to argue that those are not pretty futuristic. The Bat Cave first appeared...
Broken nails. Bits of human flesh.
In 1942.
But it seems like...
Let's see.
Like I get the gadgets or whatever, like those aren't new to Batman's repertoire, but I feel like the whole like I'm just gonna kneel down right here and like look at whatever this explosion was and have the thing on my arm tell me what it is. Like I don't think that they had that in 1939. You know, I'm not.
The Bat computer first appeared in the 1966 Adam West TV series. And it was just the Bat computer, all kinds of things. The Bat computer ingester switch. The Bat computer input slot. A bunch of dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But the Bat computer we probably most would be able to associate with is the 1989 Bat computer from the film.
Yeah. For sure.
Love it. So, you putting those clues together?
Trying.
Canisters were stored here. Canisters of what?
I don't like his teeth.
Okay.
You know, I just...
Are they too perfect? Are they too imperfect?
They're
Give me
too
some
big.
more. Okay. You know, that's a problem because you can see his teeth, and a Batman has abnormally large teeth. Oh my god, I'm just now noticing it. They are really big.
And it's a problem because his teeth, when he has the cowl on, are the only thing of him that you really see.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? He has like bizarrely huge teeth, and so does Bruce Wayne, and no one seems to notice why this giant teeth guy is like, I'm not Batman. Big teeth.
It's like Superman, okay, his only real difference is those glasses. How do you not notice that? Like, how?
Maybe,
like, how are...
maybe his disguise is braces. That's how I do it, is what I'm saying.
What am I supposed to be linking this unscorched area with?
I could tell you, or you could figure it out yourself. Your call. All you gotta do is hold up your non-existent arm gadget and say, Alfred, help me out.
Oh, now he's using, like, his eyes. His eyes.
Someone
his, like,
drove off
technologically enhanced eyes.
I love that we went pink. It's just the best.
It's purple.
Oh, purple.
What are you on? Well, like, what?
Maybe I'm colorblind. I'm not, but maybe.
A cop shredded this merc
What
to
luck
pieces.
that truck was purple.
Barehanded.
I know. This cop is purple, too. It's crazy.
The nerve agent could make them psychotic.
Okay, so, okay. Alright. I gotta link this bullet to something.
Right.
Oh, here. See, this is like, I don't like the controls here. It's weird.
Yeah, you know, all these games get released at the same time for Xbox, PC, PS4 at the same time, so of course they have to manage multiple input schemes.
Right.
And you can tell it's designed for
The bullet that
A
killed
mouse,
the cop
yeah.
is the same type that blew up the canister.
Which, I mean, fine if that's
sure
your
they didn't
main,
find
like,
that in
if
the
that's
local
the
gun
main
store.
system that you're
appears
designing
military.
for. You know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's obvious, but, like,
you
is
put it
it
together?
really that hard
Yes.
to port the controls? Like, I mean, I don't know, honestly, because I don't have any
code reading
concept
is
of
rose
how
here.
that's done, but
This is a
it just
Well, when
feels
was the
like
last game you
Cops,
ported?
Stolen chemicals. He's making a big move.
but, like,
not recently is what you're saying.
no, like, never. But,
One of his snipers hit a canister with an incendiary.
I mean,
bullet,
that's one of the
causing it to
problems we've
superheat
had
and
with basically
explode.
every game we've played
This
that's
may have
been
a
ported.
distraction or
The
a
controls
way
have
of
just been
destroying
not
evidence.
wonderful.
Cops moved in to stop the
Well,
theft.
to that point, I'll say that
Man.
the development cycle for the first episode was rushed.
Okay.
Not only were there all the bugs,
Then
but
things
people
turned
complained about, you know, the controls being wonky.
Possibly
And also,
due to the
Telltale has this
psychoactive
problem with
nerve
doing
agent.
multiple ports. They'll have these really
ripped
comical
up a merc's
mistakes, like they'll be
face
playing the
with his bare
PlayStation version,
hands.
and it'll have like Xbox button prompts.
It was
Oh,
put down.
yeah.
Same
And
sniper,
it's like,
same
come
type
on,
of bullet.
Telltale. Well, not just Telltale, like, how did this
Looks
even
like
pass
Falcone's men got what
Sony
they wanted.
QA? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
how did somebody not notice that there's an Xbox prompt?
Yeah.
No.
Well, and that
They're based
leads,
on
like,
two impact
okay,
trajectories,
and
the
clearly
canister
these
and the
episodes
dead
probably
cop.
are not long because our
shooter
whole
could
goal
only
tonight
have a
is to
clean
finish
shot
one
from
episode.
there.
So, like, you
That's
know, we don't
there.
play this game for hours and hours and
There.
hours. So,
And would have
in
contaminated
theory,
himself
someone
with the
could have played
phosphorus
through this
residue.
episode and been like,
Program the
okay,
skimmers to
here's
pick up that
a
signature.
thing that's wrong with it.
Right away, sir.
Fix this and then we'll release it. Like, it just, yeah.
Yeah. His detective skill. The level of Miss Veronica Mars, or is he falling short?
I mean, so far it hasn't really been that impressive. It's been like,
Both
oh,
targets could have been shot from here. But no phosphorus
there's a bullet,
trace.
and wait, this thing was shot, and this guy has skin under his nails, and that other guy's face is ripped up. What happened here?
Thank you. I thought it was infantile.
Yeah.
Like, when I connected the scorch mark to the unscorched mark, and I was like, ooh, a truck probably went by here. I was like, out loud saying, yes, you could tell that by the tire marks.
Right,
Why did
there's
I have to
tire
link
tracks.
anything?
Like,
It's
you just
so
look
freaking
down and
obvious.
see what happened. Like,
Phosphorus
what?
spike.
It felt like
Clear
a
vantage
children's
point.
puzzle. Like, it really felt like Telltale.
Right.
Telltale. Sit down, Telltale.
Right, because it's
If you don't
obviously
wanna do
isn't a
this-
game that's meant for children because of all the, like, you know, it's pretty intense.
Ultra violence.
Yeah.
No,
This is the
listen,
right
Telltale, if you
spot.
didn't want to make a puzzle
So where
game,
did he go?
then don't. Don't do this thing where you're like, oh, technically we have to do puzzles. Don't do it. Just abandon it and do a story, because
Right.
it's insulting.
Killing time.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not, the thing is, it's not even really puzzly because they just give you all the frickin' prompts. Like, it's like, look at this
Yeah,
thing,
please
look at
don't
this other
hear.
thing,
Then he should be nearby.
and now, just click 2 buttons
Found
because
it.
it's not hard to figure out what happened, and then you're done.
Time to go to work.
Yeah. If you were to compare and contrast this to Sam and Max, you spend hours, or the pirate one, Tales of Monkey Island. I mean, it is just, you've collected all of these objects, you've got a rock, you've got a statue, you've got a severed head, and you have to combine them in ways, I mean, once you finally figure out the solution, you're like, what? That was crazy. How did that even, like, you're still like, it doesn't even make sense, but I just did.
Yeah.
But you do get this, like, sense of, well, okay, I guess I brute force figured this out. That's cool. But here, I feel like they've wholesale abandoned their entire history and have just
Yeah.
gone for a story, except with these trace elements that are not fleshed out, they're not good, they don't add to your story. Take it away.
I'd like to point out that at the end of that scene where you figured out what was happening, you got a trophy called World's Greatest Detective.
True what they say.
And
Insult to injury, man.
Right?
Insult to injury. Yeah,
Give me a reason
real
to stop.
embarrassing. Telltale should be embarrassed about that trophy
You know
in
you
that
can bleed
sequence.
to death
Not
whenever spill
good.
a drop.
Yeah.
All on the inside. Tell me the plan, or I start swinging.
I like to know why this guy was still there.
Why was he still just hanging out?
He doesn't seem to be injured, at least not yet. When it was in another door he could sneak out of, like, what was he doing?
Yeah, because he doesn't. He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't injured. He could have easily left.
Had the container number we needed, but
Like,
she flaked.
Yeah.
So we had to find it ourselves.
Yeah,
Container
I
by
found this scene to be
container.
weak.
Someone must have heard us.
Oh,
Called the
Beyond
cops.
in agreement.
We were
Yeah.
told no witnesses.
Why risk open war with the GCP?
you know, it's
Some kind of
tiring doing
chemicals.
nothing all day. Really, it
Cody
is.
wanted 'em.
What are the chemicals for?
I hear
We
you.
were paid to steal them, not ask questions.
I have been crocheting basically nonstop since Wednesday night, and let me tell you, this morning when I woke up, my hands
I
were
start
like,
here and keep
they were
breaking
dead.
until you
They hurt
answer.
so much, and
Some kind of
I have a
explosive.
sleeve left of the sweater that I'm working on, and I was like, I'll just finish that. Like when I went to sleep last night, I was like, I'll just finish that tomorrow.
I swear.
Nope.
I swear.
Nope. So now I have a sweater that has one sleeve. And I'm like, I just don't feel like finishing it. I just don't.
That's
feel
gonna be the new trend. One-sleeved sweaters.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
I'll just like stitch up the whole other side, like leave one arm off and like,
Call the coroner instead.
yeah.
Just call it Japanese influenced. You'll be
Right?
golden.
Oh my god, it's pretty great.
I was wrong. Gonna need that
Okay,
ambulance.
so
The hell's going on tonight,
what
Lieutenant?
is the purpose of his eyes lighting up purple? Is that supposed to be like a scanning technology?
No, that was when he was like looking. He was like recreating the scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so it is like a hologram type.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
You're taking this too far, Bruce.
Alfred just scolded me.
He did. Alfred was like, I say, good sir.
Oh man, I think
You
I'm gonna.
assumed the persona of a
I'm
bat,
exhausted. How
but
much
you're
longer do
not
I
an
have
animal.
of this, Tony?
You nearly killed
6
a
or
man
7 hours?
Oh,
Probably
man.
closer to 6.
Okay.
You're
Your
nearing the
parents
end.
didn't
No
raise
worries.
you this way.
The
Sorry.
puzzle was certainly the
Neither did
slowest
I.
aspect because, of course, you know,
Look, I did what
connect
you
this
had
to that
to.
and then this to
Yeah.
that.
But
Yeah.
at what cost?
You're doing
We
good
both know how this
for a
argument
sleepy
goes,
Batman.
especially now during this
Oh
preposterous
man,
attack on
all
your
that violence
family.
makes me tired.
You must show the world the true nature of a Wayne.
Giving everything to the
It's a
city
little
and
bit
then being
psychopathic,
murdered
but that's
for it.
okay. We're gonna just
Rifle.
whistle past
Every
that.
time you leave this cave,
Okay, you're gonna
Oh my
like be
God,
Homer and back out through the
96%.
bush.
Yeah, exactly.
you're a
And
good
I'm out.
man, Bruce. Good, just like your parents.
Can I
Don't
just say
lose
that Bruce needs to get better internet?
I don't mean to be a doddering old fool on the subject, but as a friend,
Or
the
he's
burden of
downloading
advice falls on me.
A very
Trust
large
me,
porn
I
file.
won't lose my way.
He's not downloading it. He's decrypting it though.
It's quite
never
understandable
had
to stray from
he needs-
paths now and again.
Not the
So
the
long as you
hard
can find your
drive.
way back.
He just needs a
Oh, right.
faster
Bury the
like
person,
processor,
Bruce, but you
motherboard,
never
or whatever
bury
it
the
is that
memory.
does the hard work.
Sometimes I
Maybe
wish
you
I
should
could.
stop playing World of Warcraft on the other screen.
Right? Maybe you should like free up
That
some
night,
resources,
that
shut down all the other
alleyway.
programs.
It made me who I am.
I think Alfred is in charge
can't
of
get it
computer
out of my head.
management, and he's just
That
not
is
up
your
to the
gift.
task.
Because he's a grandpa and he
curse.
doesn't
Being
understand.
that man can allow you to turn
Whoa,
back the
I wasn't
tide
gonna
of
get all
treachery that's
ages to
weak
there,
and
but I
sad.
guess someone did go
Or
there.
grounded in its sorrow.
No, I'm kidding.
When you
Alfred seems
doubt
like
your
it's cool because
fate,
he was like, remember
remember
earlier
why
he
you
was like
started all this.
chilling and watching
Remember
stuff on the
that boy
TV,
in the
watching
alley.
I won't forget.
what Bruce Wayne was doing.
Neither will
You were
I.
close. We almost lost the entire viewership of age 60 and up. You're
know.
lucky.
There are so
Saved
many
it.
of them.
Last second.
Well,
There are, I assume,
back
thousands.
into the fray again.
Hundreds of them.
Because, you know, they logged in and couldn't figure out how to log out.
Right. Right. They're like, what is this? Twitch?
Somebody.
I don't feel like reading.
that's bullshit. It jumped from 96% to 100%, which is like, I'm sorry, what the hell wasn't that 4%? Why are you lying to me, computer? Figure out the actual percentage and do it evenly. I hate that. Ooh, I'm very sorry. I have someone at the door. Please, please hold.
At the door?
If I don't come back, tell the internet I've lost to the cold.
Okay.
Well, looks like that egg finally cracked. And inside, Mayor Hill was hiding more than I could have imagined. This is a complete
I'm back.
manifest
Hello.
of Carmine
Hello
Falcone's
again.
criminal organization.
I actually left
world
my
was Hill
apartment,
doing
and I thought to myself, if I am getting swatted, we have finally made it.
Drug running, mob hits, money laundering. Falcone's been involved in everything.
Too soon? Too soon? Probably too
Goes
soon.
back years.
You see Dad's name on any of these documents?
I'll run a
Truly
search,
tragic.
but
You did hear
so
about the news
far
story.
I don't.
No.
Throwing that out to the ether. No. Okay. So listen, there is there was this man in Kansas who was killed over.
Oh yeah, no, I did hear that. That's right. I heard that.
Finally
And it wasn't even the right, like
organization.
the guy gave out a completely wrong address, and the guy was just like,
Yeah.
"Hey,"
Possibly begin to
and then it was just some
really
random dude.
it's
and
disgusting
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
There's only one
horrible
cop you
and
can trust to handle
tragic,
this
and the guy was
evidence
arrested.
correctly.
The guy who sent the SWAT
Lieutenant
team.
Gordon. He can
Yeah.
mobilize the entire.
And there's some
police
interviews with
force
him that he did before getting arrested,
reporter
you
from
know,
the
with
Gazette.
various gaming
Vicky.
Twitter outlets, whatever,
Yeah.
saying,
Miss
oh,
Vega.
well, you know, I didn't have
She
a
could
gun,
release this
so...
evidence
Yeah.
through proper channels.
Like, oh, I didn't know.
I
Like,
suppose it
what?
comes
No,
down
you're
to who you
gross.
want to help
Stop.
most. Or who you think
You know,
could do
here's the
most
thing.
Good.
Political rant number 3. So, there are elements of gamers out there, and I
Vicky
consider
showed
myself
faith
to
in
be a gamer. I
She
consider this
cares
to be
about
like
the
Yeah.
my hobby.
She
And
let
there's
the
this
story out
this
the way it
this
needs to be
contingent
told.
of people
A wise
that
decision,
just
sir.
so
We'll
gross,
attack
so
Falcone on
toxic
two
that you
fronts
feel like,
tonight.
can you not
Vicky through
like
the media,
be a gamer because
Batman.
you're making this so shitty for
Yeah.
everybody.
Necessary.
Yeah. Like ever since like
Whatever
the
Falcone
Gamergate
is
shit went
planning,
down,
it
it's like
ends
I don't
tonight.
really want to be called
He's
a
a
gamer
spider,
because I don't want to
Bruce.
associate
Eyes
with
everywhere.
these
A dense
people
web of goons
that are
poised
just
to
like
trap you.
terrible human beings. And I
No
don't
one
understand
has
like
ever managed to bring him
you
down.
know
I haven't tried
like
yet.
I don't understand people who aren't feminists, right? Like
Yeah.
even just at the most basic level of feminism, which means equality for women, right? Like
Yep.
what how is that not something that you are okay with? And then
Yeah.
I don't know. And then to bring that into your like gaming environment and like making it toxic for everyone?
This is big.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You drop a bomb like this, there's gonna be
You know, and
fallout.
you can
And not
follow
even
that trend.
Falcone
You can
can
follow
Why
the
give it to
trend
me
of people
then?
feeling like, you
You
know,
don't know
video games
how
are a way
much
to
I
escape
appreciate it,
reality. You know, you're delving
Wayne.
into all of these
You
male
could have given
power
it to me.
fantasies and
I do now,
fantasies
I
of, you know,
impress.
After handing
getting
me
the
something
woman and
like
all this
this,
stuff, and
I'd say you
and
got
of
one
course,
for life.
you know, nerd culture
Falcone's
is very
slippery,
prevalent
but
in gaming,
this is
more
enough
so
to hang
than
him out to dry.
in film and TV.
Mm-hmm.
Though we do see that being clawed back a bit now.
What this could do for the city.
That I just feel
my
like,
career.
wow, this toxic element has
I'm just
stuck around so
wondering what
hard
the
in
cost is
gaming
gonna
that
be.
it just is this odd,
It'll be
odd
worth
place
it.
to be,
I don't
especially
know, Bruce.
for women.
Falcone
I mean,
doesn't
I
like
can't
young
imagine
girls.
what that'll
If
be
I won
like,
this story,
what
I'd
that
put a
would be like,
price on my
being a woman with an
next time
online
my name
presence
appears in the
and knowing that
media,
you're walking into a minefield like
Might
that.
be an obituary.
I'm very
Falcone
lucky
has a
that I
way
don't
of
have to deal with that,
handling
and I just
reporters
feel
he
bad.
doesn't like.
I feel bad about it.
Yeah, yeah. And
Anyone can do that.
every time I play Overwatch
Accountability gives the
online,
media its
I
teeth,
will have my
and
headset
that's
on,
sorely lacking in Gotham
but I don't
these days.
talk. I'll just listen. I turn my mic off.
always
I don't want to
think
deal with that. I've never
crime
experienced
in
like
the city.
something
It's a
bad where
hydra.
people like are
You
like,
cut
"Oh,
off
you're a woman"
one
or whatever.
criminal's head.
Three
But it's
more
because I
appear in
don't
its
talk.
place. I know.
And I
Yeah.
know
Unless
that,
we
you
kill
know,
the beast
at
once
some
and for
point, if
all.
I did, even if 99%
even
of the people are
capable
chill
of
about
that.
it, there's always going to be
If we
that
don't act
one
fast, that
experience
void
that
will
you're
be
just going to be
filled by
like,
someone
what
far worse.
the hell? Like, why?
Wouldn't
Yeah.
be the first time.
Yeah,
Lieutenant Gordon.
yeah.
He has his badge in the right
It
place.
sucks. It
Oh,
sucks
I
the
hope that's
air
enough.
like out of the
Sometimes
fun.
the
It
rest
really
of the
does.
force.
Yeah, because
They have their
I
own
mean, gaming is escapism. It's meant to be
It's a
fun.
good
It's
thing you
meant
gave
to
this to
like
me
get you
instead of
out
the
of the
police.
real world, right? Like
Could
that's
end
how
up
I view
buried in
gaming.
some evidence locker,
And
not on
to
every
go
screen
into a
in
game
Gotham
where you're
for
like these
months.
cartoon characters who are
Public
blowing
attention.
each other
That's
up
what
for
brings down men like
funsies,
Falcone.
like
Not a bullet.
to having someone
Go after my
calling you
storylines?
terrible things
You might
because
get
you're a
that too.
woman, even if you're
I will see
wonderful
you,
at the
Bruce.
game and like kicking ass, you still get shit because you're just because of what sex you were born as. Like that's such bullshit.
Good. So is our hunt.
Yeah.
The drone's
Yes.
located Falcone downtown, a place
I
called
can't say it
the
better. Yeah.
Skyline Club.
Yeah.
On that note, I can't help but notice that you chose to give the info to the woman.
always
Ms.
change
Vicky
in the
Vale.
car.
To be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening, and I was like, oh, there's two things on screen. I think they're just like giving me more info. So I was like, let me learn more about Vicky. And then that wasn't at all what was happening. So there it is.
I feel like this was your major decision marking the end of an act. You had the choice of giving the info to Vicky Vale, the reporter representing the press and free information, versus giving it to Mr. Wow, why is his name Gordon?
Yeah,
Gordon.
Lieutenant Gordon. Yeah. But I
Thank
feel
you.
like even if I had been paying attention to the decision, I feel like that's the decision that I would have made either way. Because even after he gives the info to Vicky, he just said, you know, one of the options was that you can tell her to trust Gordon. So I feel like either way you can team them up.
The drone's cameras and scanning tech are fully functional.
Yeah.
All right. Let's find
I
Falcone.
will spoil. I chose the Gordon option.
Mhm.
Very good to be able to see the other side of that scene.
Good point of entry.
I think that has to do with how I view, like, the legal system and law. That I tend to trust the authority, or at least I allow them the chance. And because, you know, we're just newly entering Gotham in this universe, I feel like I wanted to give the law a chance and give them the opportunity to resolve this problem, as opposed to just throwing it out to the press. That was my line of reasoning.
Right. Well, I feel like if you give it to the press, the cops then also have the information, right?
Right, and also the press could totally pressure the police in like a very public way to do the right thing.
Right.
I totally thought of that too. I landed where I landed, but
Yeah,
I totally get your line of
I mean,
reasoning.
I get it. I get your point of view. I mean, I work with law enforcement as well, so it's like, you know, we both sort of have this
No
like
time for subtlety.
skewed. Like, I have mostly had good experiences with law enforcement, and I get that, like, you know, that's my privilege talking, but
What do you mean? We're two white people. What privilege could we have? I'm confused, but continue anyway.
but yeah, you know, I tend to trust
Only one of them.
law enforcement mostly. I mean, obviously there's like a bad egg here and there, but I work with probation officers, so maybe this is a little bit different, but all of them seem like they're pretty cool, chill people, and even though they like deal with offenders who are, you know, oftentimes repeat offenders or like people who are pretty bad dudes, like, and not in like the Trump way where they're Mexican, but like I mean, some of them are, but I just throughout my life, every experience I've had with a police officer has been pretty positive, and I don't know, like, back in November, a situation happened where I had to call, like, my friend and I had to call the police for, you know, XYZ reason, and the cop who came out, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, the cop who came out was like this really awesome, cool guy, and it's like, we had like something pretty serious happen, and he was super chill about it, and he was like, no, you're good. But again, both of us were white people, so maybe if we were not white people, maybe if we were people of color or whatever, like, it could have gone a completely different way. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Nothing here.
Yeah, well, you know, I think this game actually kind of talks about systemic corruption. It talks about corruption of the police, and it talks about good eggs within that. You know, it's a classic noir story of talking about, you know, an entire system that's corrupt and those good people that are within it trying to fight against being corrupted. And it's very interesting because these stories were popular and continue to be popular today, because I think there is this overwhelming feeling that, you know, as institutions, the police, the government, whatever your viewpoint is, but I'm sure you feel something, has an underlying corrupt base that you're constantly fighting against. You're constantly fighting to remove it, and it's very difficult / maybe impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's just this whole, like, you know, especially if, you know, there's 1 or 2 guys that are corrupt, or like, even if, whatever, you're fighting against basically the whole police force. Because of course, if they don't see that, if they don't see that these people are corrupt, they're gonna protect their own. Like, I feel like that's just how that is. Like, it's this like brotherhood mentality.
Right.
So if you're like a good person and you're like, you know, this guy, he's like taking money to, like, you know, protect people or whatever, the rest of the cops are gonna be like, what? I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, you're right. And every organization, whether it be the police or any other organization, you're gonna have a feeling of camaraderie, and you're gonna have a feeling of, you know, protecting your own as a means of strengthening the unit, strengthening the collective, which strengthens you. So that's natural and important.
Yeah.
But that also means that you need a check and balance on that, because you need an objective outside force to make sure that doesn't, you know, fall prey to the lesser nature of humanity.
Yes. What am I supposed to be doing here?
So this is not a puzzle. I know it seems like it is, but all you're really doing here is you're deciding in what manner you would like to take each of these threads down.
Oh, so like, cause once I like assumed something would happen after I did that, and it sort of did. It showed me the cutscene or whatever, but
right. So it'll all play out in one bitchin' cinematic once you link everything the way you want it.
Yeah.
I got very held up here because I wanted to see every possible variation, and it was, spoilers, not worth the time.
This one might be tricky.
This is where Telltale, I think, fails. They pad their games with this kiddie puzzle / you know, oh, it's interactive, make the choice you want to, but
right.
You know, we're talking about a modeled character 3 feet that way versus 3 feet that way. It doesn't matter. Just get, you know, come on. And certainly if your UI is, you know, move the right analog stick until you position it exactly right, and then use the X button to connect that, and then remove the right analog stick. It's like, this is not worth the time.
Yeah. Yes. Really slows down the gameplay here.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Bruce, have you
But you are
formulated your
most
plan of
definitely
attack?
in the final act. You are nearing the end.
I'm going in.
Very
Keep
good,
on
sir.
keeping on, Batman.
Your turn
Trucking.
to
Keep
crash
on trucking.
his party.
Famously Batman's motto. Keep on trucking, Batman.
You never heard that? You never heard Batman say that before? That's
It must have been
surprising.
one of his 60s quotes. I don't know how I missed it. I read that line as Alfred being like, oh my god, are you done, Batman?
Like, get it over with already.
Let's go.
Ooh. That sounded like it was heavy.
I mean, he's killing some of these people, no?
Oh, yeah. Some of these people are definitely not getting back up again. Which I thought went against Batman's whole, like, you know, I thought that was the whole thing. Like, he's Batman, he doesn't kill people.
You know, I think that you can kill people. I think that you basically are allowed to make Batman the hero that you want to be. Which I think is nice that DC gave them the leeway to kind of alter their character.
But I thought that was, like, his whole, like, isn't that his whole morality? Like, he doesn't kill people. Which
But
seems
so is
like...
Superman, and in the latest Superman movie, he textually murdered hundreds of people.
Like, these dudes definitely just died. The other guy shot them because Batman moved. Like, I don't think Batman would be okay with that.
Yeah, you know, that bothered me too. I tried to play this as pacifist as possible. And I believe those guys were shot in my version too, so... He does not blink an eye. I guess, okay, this is one of those things where it's like, oh no, our protagonist can't be the one killing, so let's have it that, oh, the bad guy technically killed them,
Yeah.
so it's totally fine, our character's protected. But you're right, it's weak. Batman would be like, oh no, shit, I shouldn't have moved.
He would have at least done something to prevent them from getting shot. Like, even if he moved to, like, not get shot himself, I don't think he would have let other people get shot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we already know that his batsuit can absorb bullets. So.
Right.
I felt bad when I did that. The batarang in the back. I was like, oh my god.
You think that's gonna work?
Also, keep track, right? As far as you can tell, that batarang is still in his back.
It should be.
Just keep track of that.
Yeah, it's
just
definitely not there at the moment.
You know who my lawyers...
It's definitely gone.
Stay down, Falcone. We can end this now.
You got a lot to learn, kid.
I mean, could he have reached it? I guess he could have reached it.
Maybe. I mean, it was pretty high up. Probably reachable, right?
Yeah.
Explosives armed. Fire when ready.
So we haven't talked about the little bat symbol in the bottom left. As you correctly make inputs, that bat symbol builds till it glows, and then you're able to do a bitchin' Batman move at the appropriate time. I don't know what the result would be if you don't build it up.
Well, something weird just happened.
Explosives armed. Fire when ready.
There we go. Apparently I aimed poorly.
Spare yourself the pain, old man.
Yeah, I've been through worse.
The chemicals. Where are they?
What?
I found your calling card at the docks. The White Rose.
You think I wanted to lead you here? Yeah, something reeks about this whole thing. And it is a dead bat.
Still want to play games?
We're all being played here, including you. Those chemicals you're so riled up about, they're mine, all right? But someone is trying to cut me out of the deal, because I did not make that mess at the docks.
Then who did?
No, we're done. Gotham's watching now. Go ahead.
Glowy purple.
Give him a show. I'll be walking free by the... Oh, wait! Christ almighty!
Spill it, Falcone! While you still can.
It's... the Waynes. They're behind all this.
What do you mean?
You wanna save this city? Well, the Waynes are the biggest gangsters in Gotham.
Dun dun dun.
Thanks for the assist.
Dramatic twist.
Now we only have to take one of you down. Open fire!
Trophy earned. Room with a view.
Fire and smoke could reportedly be seen from street level. Tonight, the Skyline Club, a high-rise mafia hangout in downtown Gotham, was the arena for a clash between the notorious Batman and alleged mob boss Carmine Falcone, who was found dangling over a 50-story drop. Bet Falcone loved that view. Though I'd say the crime boss getting his is well overdue, Falcone has slipped through the law's grasp for years. But after this dramatic arrest and a stunning expose by Gazette reporter Vicky Vale, Falcone's going away for a long time. And
as recap of everything you've done.
Dealings, this brings me to the story everyone
is
talking about.
I'm going to tell you everything that just happened
For
in your
generations,
game.
the big W on the Wayne Enterprises tower was
I mean, you
a
know,
reassuring sight.
okay, it's cute,
You
but
knew that there was something
a bit
pure
lazy.
at the
I'd
heart
rather
of
see the
Gotham.
consequences, you know,
Right.
more, you know, ground level than this
But with Thomas
generic.
and Martha's
Here's a
shining
cutscene that
reputation
plays after this
called into question,
cutscene based
we
on
no
the two
longer
things you
have
chose.
such assurances. And even worse, it seems the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree. Gotham's greatest son, Bruce Wayne, seen here in the company of gangsters, may be just as crooked as his parents. Wayne even refused to go on record when asked to defend his family's legacy. In a world where the Waynes, our golden family, are corrupt, who are we left with? Who can Gotham?
I don't understand why they put the glare on this guy's glasses.
Batman?
Like, clearly that's like...
Meanwhile, we'll keep
You're right, that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
the prominent feeling
I'm also
throughout
noticing
Gotham
there's no
is that the
subtitles on
Wayne's
what
time in the
he's
sun
saying.
is ending.
I did at the end there. Maybe because they had all that stuff on the screen?
Yeah. This is an odd choice.
The car.
Yeah.
This entire cave.
Master Bruce?
Everything I built. I created all of this because I didn't want any more innocent people to die. If Falcone's telling
he
the
doesn't
truth
want
about my
innocent
past,
people to
then
die.
what the
That's
hell did we
thing.
do this for?
That's the
Bruce,
that's the key.
What have you been hiding
But
from
no,
me?
previously Batman, you're right, is a non-lethal hero.
Right.
And famously, that's why there's Arkham Asylum, that's why all these villains keep coming back and back and back, is because he doesn't kill them.
He doesn't kill them. Right. Trophy earned. Family secrets.
Way to go, madam, and that is the trophy challenge of the day. You've done it. You've done the thing.
Did. Wow. Did you stick up for Harvey in front of Falcone? Not
Yeah,
very
here's
many
where we get to
people.
kind of compare what we've done. So we played pretty much similarly, but some key differences. You beat the shit out of that guard.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
No remorse. Gordon was all, "Oh, Batman, you're so nice, and you gave him a cookie. Way to
It's
go."
funny.
And you're
It's
like,
funny that yeah.
waterboarding
I'm just like,
him.
no, I'm not taking your shit. So it says me and 14.6% of players chose a press blackout, refusing Vicky's request for a quote. But then at the end, I'm just like, here, have all this stuff, Vicky.
That's true. Yeah, I did give her a quote, and my quote was like, "Justice will prevail." It was very dramatic.
So interestingly, it's about a half and half split on whether or not the people beat the crap out of that guard. Me and 48.7% of people.
Well, let me ask. Did you notice that you could resolve that non-lethally? Like, did
Yeah.
you notice that non-violently there was the option for the can?
I did notice you could back out of what was happening, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Just making sure. Making sure.
Ooh, more people gave the info to Gordon. What happens when you give the info to Gordon?
Essentially, you meet with him in a sky path, kind of between two buildings, and you give him the information as Bruce Wayne, and he's like, I'm not going to stop investigating your family, and then you have some choices about like basically, please take my bribe, or I just want justice. Of course, playing as a Paragon, I'm like, I just want justice.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You're not so bad, Bruce. We can get a lot of things done if we work together." And that's it. They show up at the end of the sequence, just like in your game. So, I don't know if you had given it to Vicky and then told Vicky not to trust Gordon, if that would have played out differently. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I didn't get into some things because I didn't want to completely disrupt the story, but I did want to give you some quick things. The PlayStation description for the game, I think, is very it's very well written. Enter the fractured psyche of Bruce Wayne and discover the powerful and far-reaching consequences of your choices as the Dark Knight. In this gritty and violent new story from the award-winning creators of The Walking Dead, a Telltale game series, you'll make discoveries that will shatter Bruce Wayne's world and the already fragile stability of a corrupt Gotham City. Which I think you would agree is a pretty fair description of at least the first episode, no?
Yeah. No, I agree.
You do collect 6 trophies for each episode, so it is a very nice padding. And at around 2 hours an episode, you're looking at about, a 12-hour experience. It's really not bad as far as how long it takes. 8.5 is the official on howlongtobeat.com, which is a website which pretty accurately averages gamers' experiences of how long it takes to beat the game. And you might be interested to know there is a second season of this game coming out. Not just coming out, already has partially been released. August 8th, October 3rd, and November 21st were the first 3 episodes of the second season. Called Batman: The Enemy Within.
Ooh.
Which is why this game obviously is on the PS Plus free downloads, because they want you to play it so that you go out and buy the second game.
Sure.
At 5 episodes, it's a lot of content. Originally you would have had to wait. They released monthly, August 2nd, September 20th, October 25th, November 22nd, and December 13th of 2016 for the first 5 episodes, of which you receive all of them for free, quote unquote, under the PS Plus membership.
Okay.
And at a disc size of 1.83 gigabytes and a regular listing price of $24.99, would you say this is worth the play/download?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, especially if you're a fan of Batman, like the whole, I don't know, lore and everything, and like the backstory. I mean, like, I had a few problems with the controls, and like the puzzles are not puzzles. They're just like super boring. And I think the morality choices are interesting. I think it's like, I like that you have different options and stuff. So that made it at least a little bit interesting, where it's not just like you're playing a movie, you actually have some choices.
Yeah.
I would say yes, it's worth it. I mean, it's what you said, it was like an 8.5-hour game. It's not even 2 gigs of space. Like, yeah, I would say download this one. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's play the game I call Will You Beat the Metacritic Rating? It's not a very good title for a game, but we're playing it anyway.
Okay.
Metacritic rates their games based on an average of critic and audience reviews from 0 to 100. 100 being great, 0 being terrible.
Yes.
Do you think that you're going to beat the Metacritic rating?
Are we talking about for just this episode or for the whole game?
Great question. We could do either. I have both of those numbers.
Okay, let's
just do the episode.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I'll beat it.
Okay, so I'm going to read to you the highest and the lowest without the numbers, and then you can give me what you guess on the Reddit rating.
Okay.
Game critics said of Batman the Telltale series, it started strong and ended the same way, and with many characters' fates left undecided and new characters appearing in the final act, a second season seems inevitable. I look forward to it. And the low end, PlayStation Official Magazine UK said, an underwhelming Batman game, but a great Bruce Wayne one. A satisfying counterpart to Rocksteady's Arkham games, but it won't win over Telltale naysayers.
Okay.
All right. What do you think the Metacritic score is?
Wait,
for
am I
episode 1?
wait, am I giving you what I think Metacritic is or what my score is?
Oh, how do we normally do this?
Usually I give you my score.
Give me your score. Do that.
I give it a 70.
70.
Yeah.
Well, at a 70, you went only 4 points below the Metacritic rating of 74 for the episode.
Oh.
Not too bad. Overall, they gave 68 to the entire series,
whole-
so you kind of
okay.
beat them there.
Yeah, that's true. But I haven't played the whole series, so maybe if I had, I would have a different response.
That's true. You may be totally... You may say, ugh, what is this episode 2? 0 points. It's terrible. Batman joins Gamergate. It's real weird.
Yeah. All that technology, and he just sits in front of it and plays video games, and is like a real asshole to people all day.
That's right. He does a Twitch stream. He can't
Yeah.
even do it the same day of the week. He's terrible.
Yeah, he can't keep to a schedule. Like it's awful. It's all over the place.
He's the worst. Well, congratulations, Batman.
Oh, thank you, Alfred.
You're welcome.
You kept me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, I tried to. You beat the shit out of that guy when
I
I wasn't
know.
looking. But,
You failed. You failed.
I went to the door and I came back and I found the bloody guard, but that's fine. That's fine. If you wanted to follow us in the gaming world and berate our morality, how would you do that?
You can find me on the PlayStation Network as Caustic Sofa. And
It's a sofa you don't want to sit on.
exactly. How do they find you, Tony?
Well, I am Paradox on PlayStation 4, but I'm not spelled in any way that would make any sense at all.
Sure.
You could spell it like this, P-A-I-R-O-D-O-C-S. Like a pair, Odox.
Like a pair of doctors.
Exactly, but like Irish. O with a little...
Yeah, Odox.
We'd love for you to tune in on Thursday. That's only 3 days from now. 3 days from now.
Yes.
When I'm going to do all that research in time for Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Arguably the, spotlight game for the PlayStation Plus releases of this month.
Great. So we will see you then on Thursday in a few days.
We won't actually see them because
No,
we
that's
don't
true.
have a...
That's true.
but
You'll hear
it's
us.
a colloquial expression, so I probably didn't have to...
And yeah, it's it's just
Yeah.
All right, great. See you guys then. Bye.